Ready to go? You do this a lot better. This is like
Vice Chair Leaderfield, in case you remain stand for pledge.
So, Father, we just thank you for wisdom. We've already prayed earlier, so we know there's a lot on the agenda for senior housing. So we thank you that there's going to be development for that to help those in need, and also for demolition approvals and stuff that's on the ordinance, and redevelopment and land development codes and all the things for the property taxes. And we just know that we could ask and believe and work together as a team to come up for the best things for the city and the community. So I just want to give you thanks, because this is what it is about Thanksgiving. Thank you for everything that we have, that we could do and use our gifts and talents for the better for each other. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Madam Clerk, have roll, please.
Mayor John Anna Cooper,
Here.
Vice Mayor Chris Mayer,
Here.
Councilman Robert Hubbard,
Here.
Councilwoman Lisa Burke,
Here.
Councilwoman Christine Sullivan, here. City Attorney Nancy Meyer, here. City Manager Andrew Butterfield.
Here. Thank you. First up, we got 2 sets of minutes to approve. So first, I need the October 14th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. If I could motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. The motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next up, I need a motion to approve the October 21st, 2025 City Council special meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is comments from the general public. I do have a couple signups. I'll start with Danny Fields. Welcome.
Well, my name's Danny Fields. My address is 8114 Leo Kidd. And again, I just want to thank you for all that you do for the community, working together for the best. You know, there's a lot of things that Somebody Cares does with the organizations around, with the faith-based church and the events that's coming up. And so on Thanksgiving, we're going to be giving some meals out for those that are shut-ins, for the seniors around here that need food that delivered. So the church is going to do that in the community. So we got a list here in Port Richey and surrounding areas of people to go serve and spend some time with them. You know, there'll be widows, there will be retired people that served in the military. So we get a chance to be able to honor them for their service and all they do. And that would be any citizens. That could be law enforcement, your firefighters. It could just be your mom, your pop, your aunt and uncle or cousin. So I just wanted to say that on November the 27th, we'll be doing that. We'll be launching out at the Oasis to deliver them meals. There's going to be a bunch of them all around, so that was good. Another thing we got coming up is what we're working on December, but we know on December the 5th here, we're having movie night showing that here at the city, correct?
That's correct.
And so I'll be a part of that. I hope all of you could show up and bring your family. It's a good time to promote and work together in the community. And then on December the 6th, we'll be having Christmas in the park. And Somebody Cares and the businesses was partnering with the city to make that a great event. We'll have the police, the fire department, toys be given out, and vendors. So we thank you that the vendors are there and that we could all work together as a team to do that public relationship to be able to share and decorate. And then we know on December the 7th, you guys are doing that event too. And we're helping out by cutting the cost down, by setting up a tent and bringing chairs and stuff like that. See, that's when we come together as a people for the best for the community, for each other. We always say it's a good place to live, to work, to play, and to work together and come together in any times, in good times or bad. And, you know, if we look at it this year, we've dodged a lot. We ain't had no storms, so that's part of being able to keep that cost down. But thank God that you guys was all ready for anything that comes at you. So I just want to say that. And then for time's sake, I do know that you guys has got stuff with the Citizens Advisory Committee, you know, to sponsor a teacher. You know, that's good because they got needs for the community as well. So that's something that I'm going to bring to the faith-based church and organizations around and try to get people to give some of the stuff that's on this list that we need. You know, and there's a list of stuff that's probably already on your guys' website, and we could share and post that as well to get them teachers to have what they need in this area and any surrounding area. So thank you and for all that you do.
Thank you, Danny. Next up, I have Frank Grimaldi. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor,
Yep.
City Council. Thanks for having me. I won't take a lot of your time, but I want to introduce myself, Frank Grimaldi, Treadway Drive property. I represent Cody River Inlet LLC, which owns a former seaside property between Hooters and Gill Dogs. And we appreciate everything you guys do out there for the community and the waterfront district. The businesses need it, the community needs it, and we do appreciate your support. And I'm there if you need anything. We've got a lot of positive plans with development down there that are going to be coming out in the future that we'll be talking about shortly. And the waterfront district needs some continuity, needs some help. Some of the roads down there on Treadway, we're running into problems with potholes, and it's dark. We have customers that come out of our businesses down there, and it's hard to walk around. So we need some sidewalks. If you could please think about maybe putting something like that on the agenda. Work on sidewalks, some lighting. It's very, very dark in the waterfront district. People want to walk with their families after dinner and go to the other businesses, but if it's not safe, you know, they don't feel comfortable to do that, and it's dark. As far as, I won't take a lot of your time because you guys have some real important things to do, but we need some type of lighting on the street poles down there, and I know we already have poles. I don't know if there's any type of decorative holiday festive lighting that the city has that they ever put up on poles. It enhances the neighborhood and community, and if you consider something like that to help on the waterfront district, it would be much appreciated, and we're there to support it as well in anything you do. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate that.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Just on that, is it possible to go down there and take a look and see if, I mean, obviously pothole work we could probably fill relatively quickly on some of that stuff if we could at least try to patch it up until, obviously, when some of this development happens, we can get a better sense of what's going to happen down there. But we probably need to make good effort to try to keep things safe for sure. So, okay. That's all signups I have. By show of hands, anybody else like to speak? Devin? Welcome.
Devin Aaron, 5414 Bay Boulevard. I conned my neighbor Alan into, who I love, by the way, he's a great gentleman, to draw up some, just some plans for Brasher Park, because a lot of the other parks, we want to do stuff with, we brought these people in from the Florida League of Cities, but they don't even know what our FCT, constrictions are and things like that, restrictions are, and it, kind of listening to them talk, not really super impressed. And that's why I said, hey, Alan, can you please maybe draw something up? And he goes there every morning to, walk his dog, and he picks up trash there. And he's been in the neighborhood forever. Matter of fact, his house was built by the Brashers. So, I mean, he's, this guy's been around forever. And he's in his 70s at this point. And super nice gentleman. He drew, and designed, a lot of the nicer homes in here, about half of the homes in Harbor Point. Not your house, but a lot of them. But anyways, he came up with a drawing for free, no big deal. Takes a lot of time to do that, and it's thought out. He met with Tony, about it, and Veronica. I'm not sure if Daryl was there talking about that, but I'd really like to see something done with that park. And the idea behind it for me is, we would get some kind of an outlook up top, up high, and give the $1 million view that the people at Harbor Point have to the regular people. That's kind of the idea there, because that road that goes all the way out there, I think Coons Road, I believe it is. Coons Road goes all the way out there. That's why it goes all the way out there. It goes out there because you're in the water. And now if you go, 30, 40 feet up in the air, and you can actually see it in an observation deck, it is gorgeous. I mean, it is like $1 million view out there. So to be able to do that and maybe put, 1.2 into Brasher Park, something like that. I mean, we got, I think it's $4 or $5 million in CRA that we've been stockpiling. You know what I mean? We need to spend that money. We need to deploy that money. And before we start, spending money on bigger projects like waterfront and stuff, we need to actually know what our restrictions are and all that. And I think that Brasher is a good starting point, and then probably, Nix, and then we can go on to some of these bigger things. But we got to start smaller and then go bigger and actually have our ducks in a row. But this is kind of like what I'm interested in right now, and I'm sort of on the warpath for this, because this is something that the city needs. I mean, our parks are in jeopardy, and they're in shambles, and it's ridiculous. So we need to spend some money on it, and CRA is where it's from, where it should be from. And Matt Koppler told me that that's what we should do with the money before we left. Thank you.
Thanks, Devin. Just as an update, he's not here, but Zach, do you know when Tampa Bay Regional Planning Commission is supposed to be getting those plans back?
January. We're aiming for January for their presentation.
Okay, perfect.
So they're collecting. They took everyone's input from the open house, which included Alan, and basically we're going to have a presentation for council, and then make some final decisions at that meeting, and then that way they'll produce a final product. The concept we'll be able to use to go out to start designing, engineering, and start building.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Helps in a way. So, anybody else like to speak? Okay. Seeing none, to bring back to comments from the city manager. I'll pass it to Mr. Butterfield for his comments.
All right, thanks, Mr. Mayor. We got a full agenda, as you know, so I'll try to keep it brief. But some highlights tonight: voting on the Live Local Act. I wanted to update you that the solicitation for law firms to become the city attorney closes for December. And our city planner, Tammy Brana, is here tonight. She's going to update us on the assisted living facilities parking ordinance changes. And we just got something in the last few days from the county. There's a need to draft a new interlocal agreement with the county regarding solid waste. And to meet the current timeline for bond closing, the county is requesting our staff review of the ILA, the old one from the 80s, and for us to confirm to us our intended recommendation to council by the end of day on the 12th of December, in advance of the January council meeting, which they'll want to have some clarity on. So on 9 December, they're going to come and brief us on what they're asking for us, and I'll be able to brief that night on how we're doing on coordinating with the county on the new ILA. It's kind of important because, I mean, it's obviously important. It's the county is the over us as far as solid waste. They've got the capacity and capability to manage that. So. And then there was a workshop scheduled this week, but we're looking to reschedule it in January sometime. So more to follow on that.
Okay.
And that's enough for now.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Okay, next up is comments from boards and committees. Are there any board committee comments besides mine? Okay, I'll give you a quick event committee. We met yesterday, and we obviously are planning for the Christmas event on the December 5th, 6th, and 7th. December 5th is going to be here at City Hall. We're going to have the story time with myself to the kids and also play the Grinch movie. And we're going to have some food vendors out in the parking lot. The kids will be in council chambers to watch the movie and that, but there'll be stuff out. We're going to have the lighting up at the City Hall. We got bids from several different vendors for lighting up City Hall, and a tree over here is anywhere from $5,900 to $10,000. So the committee decided to go ahead and authorize the spend out of our budget of $1,000 and buy lights, and the committee will working with staff, we'll try to decorate the best we can City Hall. I did speak with Walmart today and got commitment they're going to give us a 50% discount on the lights. And I also spoke with Lowe's because we want to put a inflatable Grinch out front, and then possibly do some kind of LED tree associated with the lamp or the clock tower out there. And there's a 9-foot LED tree that so that and an inflatable Grinch are going to try to get those and donate those to the city at no charge. And then also we'll thank them in a sign or whatever saying, donated by Lowe's and obviously Walmart as well. So we got some community help with that. So we should be able to get City Hall lit up and looking nice and have the event kick off relatively inexpensive. And that's obviously just a reminder to the public. So after that Friday night event, Saturday, all day in the park will be vendors. We did have a insurance issue where our insurance won't cover individual tents. So, mom and pops out there, they're selling cups or wood crafts or whatever, unless they have a certificate of insurance to pass along. Can't do that. So the chamber, Ron McDowell with the chamber, is going to put that under his master COI for the events. So that will take care of that issue. So hopefully we can have some more vendors. We had probably 10 or more turned down because they just didn't have the insurance to be able to come do that. So that was going to be detrimental. We do have several food vendors, I think 10 plus that are going to be there over the weekend, and so we're hoping to actually have some market stuff as well. So that's coming along, and then of course Sunday is the close of that, and there's going to be a concert out there from 4 to 7, and it's if you could help me, Lisa, the name of the band, Rocky Bovin Band. Thank you. So please keep that on your calendar. Come out. Obviously Saturday is the Newport Richey Boat Parade. We're going to close down the park at 5 for our event so that people can go and watch the boat parade, and we'll open it back up on Sunday, I think at noon. So that's the update from the event committee. So if y'all want to come out, obviously for the 5th, we'll light up City Hall and take part in that. So let me get some food. That's all I had. So any other boards, committees before we move on? Okay, next up is our consent agenda. Looking for a motion for the November 25th, 2025 consent agenda.
So moved.
Move to approve.
Yeah, move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, I put to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is council business. Item number 3, first reading of ordinance number 25-737, Land Development Code Amendment, definitions for special needs and senior housing uses and off-street parking requirements. I'll pass it over to Nancy for the reading.
Thank you. Ordinance number 25-737, an ordinance of the city of Port Richey, Florida, amending the Land Development Code, amending section 101-11 definitions to add definitions for assisted living facility and independent senior living, and to revise definitions for community residential home, group home, and nursing or convalescent home, amending section 127-94 off-street parking to update and reduce the minimum parking requirements for residential care and senior housing facilities, providing for conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Okay, thank you. And then I guess we have a presentation. We'll look on our planner. Tammy?
Good evening, Tammy Verona of Verona Consulting Safety Harbor. I serve as your on-call city planner, and I'm here tonight to discuss the changes that we're proposing to the Land Development Code, and this is a first reading public hearing. So upon review of the code, we saw that some of the provisions in the code were somewhat out of date or archaic. So this effort is to modernize the definitions within the Land Development Code to address special needs housing and senior housing uses. This would align with Florida statute, who reflects the same types of terminology within Florida law. And then also to look at the parking standards, the off-street parking standards for special needs housing, to conform those with ITE, which is the I always forget this, International Traffic Engineers, I believe, data, and also standards that are adopted in other communities. And then lastly, to support housing diversity within the community, and also to address community resiliency. And also I want to bring to your attention is that this came to, a property owner came to us by virtue of their agent, which is Best Care Senior Living at 5905 Pine Hill Road. And their agent is Ortiz Planning Solution. Patricia Ortiz is here in the audience with us tonight. They came forward looking at what type of parking requirements would be required for a nursing facility, for memory care, actually. And when we looked at the provisions, that's when it brought to our attention that these things were somewhat out of date and the parking standards were onerous. So we're addressing two different sections of the code, section 101-11 definitions, and that would be to add or revise terms that are related to residential care and senior housing types. And then secondly, section 127-94 off-street parking, to update those parking ratios for those same types of facilities. So the first one is new definitions. So we added a definition for assisted living facility, congregate care facility, and independent senior living. In those cases, those were not in the code. We had only one code that was related to, let's see if I have it pulled up here real fast to remember what it's called. It was called care home or convalescent home. So that is not a term that's used in state law anymore, so we did away with that and added these definitions to support that, in addition to the independent senior living. And then we revised definitions for community residential home, group home, and nursing home skilled nursing facility. For the off-street parking standards, we added, there was only the one standard for the care home or convalescent home. So we split that apart and provided standards that are specific to these different types of uses because they have different parking generation needs. So assisted living, and this is, we looked at the ITE trip generation or parking generation manual and also other community codes to calibrate and see what was standard. So this is what we came up with, is the one parking space per 2 units or one parking space per 3 beds, depending on the type of licensing at that facility. There'd be a parking space for the staff on the largest shift, and then one parking space per facility vehicle. For community residential home, and this is what was termed for a group home, but this is now for those that are above 6 residents. 6 residents are allowed by right, would not have any special parking standards. But in this particular case, these are for over 6, so it would be 1 space per 4 residents, and then 1 space per 2 staff that are non-residents of the home. And then for independent senior living, which I believe Abigail Court out on Washington and Pine Hill Road is that type of a use. And they did ask for a variance when they came for their development approval because the 1 unit per one parking space per bed was more than what they really needed. In this case, you can see it's a 0.6 parking spaces per unit and then 1 per staff on the largest shift. For nursing homes, skilled nursing facility, which is a specific type of licensing, it'd be 1 space per 4 beds, 1 space per staff on largest shift, and 1 space per facility vehicle. And for continuing care retirement community, which could be a combination of any of those uses, we would ask for We would either determine the standards based on the proportionate uses on the site. So if you had nursing facility and assisted living, we'd look at the standards for both. As an alternative, the applicant could come forward with a study to show us what they need, what they thought the need was, and we could look at that, and the city manager could review that if they thought it was reasonable. So the benefits of this ordinance are clarifying the definitions and eliminating redundancy so that when we get applications, we know what type of use that we're referring to. We'll simplify those zoning interpretations for the site plan review process, reducing unnecessary paved areas, which would improve with stormwater drainage, and also increase visual compatibility in surrounding residential areas, and then support additional housing options within the community so that those standards aren't so onerous that perhaps a business couldn't actually open because they could not meet the requirements. And this is just a little bit of background to give you a sense of what the need is for special needs housing in the city. So in 2020, you'll see at the top row is the age 65 and over. As of the 2020 census, there was 941 persons age 65 or over. By 2045, that figure is almost double at 1417. On the bottom row is the disabled, the persons with a disability within the city. And overall, 22% of the population has reported to the Census Bureau that they have some form of disability. So for the public hearing process, we met with the Planning and Zoning Board on November 12th, and they recommended approval of this unanimously. We also had one member of the public, actually the agent for the property owner I mentioned before, spoke and also spoke in support of the ordinance. Tonight we're having the first reading, and the second reading is scheduled for December 9th, and those have been advertised. So staff review, we find it consistent with Florida statute and also the city's comprehensive plan. The ordinance supports housing diversity, accessibility, and efficiency of land use. It enhances administrative clarity, and there's no adverse neighborhood impacts as a result of this anticipated. So with that, staff recommends approval, and this is a motion that you may use if you'd like to. And with that, I'll open it to any questions that you have.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Any questions? Sure. Chris?
This includes like elderly homes, also recovery homes.
It does not, recovery homes is coming up next, so it's not in this category. That we probably could have lumped those together, but the timing, I didn't know about this coming forward.
Clarify diversity in housing.
Diversity in housing is like different types of housing. So you might have smaller entry-level housing for people who are just getting started. They're forming their household. They want to start, they're just getting going.
Right, like a bread and butter starter house.
Bread and butter starter house, exactly. Very important.
Got married, don't have any money, need a cheap house.
Yes, exactly. And those houses are also good for retirees. So if they're downsizing, you might have bigger houses for families. You might have apartments for people who might be here on a shorter basis. Maybe they're just getting started and maybe they're trying out a job. So housing diversity is just that, having different housing types within your community to allow choice.
Provide different needs.
Choice, yeah, exactly, needs. Mm-hmm.
So you're going to talk about the recovery homes.
I won't be handling that. Nancy will.
On your agenda later.
Yeah.
Topic.
You will be addressing that, though. Yes.
Thanks for warning.
Any questions? Thanks, Tammy.
I can't go back, so anyway. Thank you.
I'd move that we approve the ordinance number 25737, amending sections 101-11 and 127-94 of the Land Development Code, finding the amendments consistent with the comprehensive plan and applicable Florida statutes.
It was a great motion. Is
Thank you, sir.
there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll put it to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next up is item number 4, the 8648 Green Street demolition appeal. I'll pass that to Mr. Butterfield for introduction.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. It's the structure in question was in August 2025 the structure was deemed a slum and blight for the second time. The owners, who I believe are here tonight, have requested extra time to rehab the structure. It's been vacant since October of 2024, and it's been in great disrepair for a substantial amount of time with no apparent maintenance or upkeep. The structure as it is poses a risk to the health and safety of the public due to the result of decay, deterioration, and dilapidation. And I've got our building official here also if you have any questions for him.
Okay, so this is a quasi judicial hearing. So I'll pass it over to our attorney to explain that quasi judicial process.
Yes, thank you. This is a quasi judicial hearing, so what this process will be is the city council is going to act in a quasi judicial capacity instead of a legislative capacity. At the quasi judicial hearing, the council's function is not to make law, rather it's going to be apply law that's already established. In the quasi judicial hearing, council will be required to make, let me start over. In the quasi judicial hearing, the council is required by law to make finding of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those finding of fact to previously established criteria contained in the city's code of ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The council may only consider evidence at the hearing the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates the applicant has met the criteria established in the city's code of ordinances, the council is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates the applicant failed to meet the criteria established, then the council is required by law to find against the applicant. And in this case, the applicant is actually the appellant, just so we don't have any confusion later. I should have modified that word in my presentation. At this point, I would ask if any member of council has had any ex parte communications with the appellant regarding this particular appeal. Hearing none, I will then ask the members of council if any of you have a conflict of interest with the application for the appeal that's before you today. Okay, hearing none, anyone that's going to provide testimony needs to stand and be sworn by the clerk. That includes the building official and anybody on behalf of the appellant.
Stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Lastly, I will just remind council to, it's tempting, this computer's in front of us, not to look up anything extra. It looks like the applicant is here to present his case, and the building official will provide you with information. You can ask questions of both of them, and that's what your decision should be based on. So with that, I will turn it back over to you.
So I'll step us through the process. So the first item of the process is the property owner is able to present their appeal. So I'd like to invite the applicant to come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please present your appeal.
We had a gardener, he wasn't doing a good job. He was doing all 3 houses in a row, and we paid him. Rick Nichols, a neighbor, and so I could see why it got looking so bad. And we got a massive tree in the backyard that last hurricane, it started leaning. The trunk is as big as a subcompact. The guy I bought the house from, he had bought the tree. It's some kind of rare tree, and now it fell over, and it did a lot of damage. But I've had everything removed from the tree except for the trunk. I'm hoping I can find someone that wants a sawmill that wants to buy the trunk, or I'll give it to them instead of cutting it up.
Before you if you could state your name and address for the record.
Joseph Dvorak, 8648 Green Street,
Okay, thank you.
Port Richey. I've lived there since 1979, and a couple of years ago, when that tree fell, the people called us and they didn't say that it pierced the house. So in 3 places it pierced the tile roof. So we removed the tile roof and repaired the roof, got an engineering study, and I put a 26 gauge metal roof, Galvalume. So it was costly. The whole thing has a value of about $44,000. And so I really can't have the house destroyed. And so I saw how bad the yard looked, and Cheryl's yard looks bad next door. But inside the house, the house was built in the 50s, and it's gyprock, 18-inch gyprock pieces, 3 feet long, 2 feet long. And then there's a brown coat. Here's how thick the brown coat is. And then on top of that is a white lime coat. And so you can see there's no mold. And with my house, I had the front door done well and the garage door done well, but the backyard door wasn't done well. So we got very little water in the house. I don't know, you can't even tell how much water we got. But I had the rugs removed right away. And last year I got sick after we did the roof. I got something, it was fat, and I got something wrong with my intestines and gallbladder and kidney. And so I'm a Christian, so I was resolved myself I'm going to die. And for 3 weeks I didn't move. And then after that, I went to the bathroom, and then once every week for the next 5 weeks, I went to the bathroom on a commode. And then I've changed my diet now. I'm vegetarian. And in a couple of days, I'm going to be finish my 79th year, so I'm coming into 80. So maybe it's time to fix up everything. I own the 2 lots down the street. I was going to build on them back in the 70s because I was raising my children, and I never built on them. But I let everyone use my lots to store all their branches, so the city only has to pick up one place for the whole Green Street. And so that was looking rough when we got there, but we've cleaned.
The house inside.
Yeah, there's no mold.
There's no mold inside.
And the fans have been running since the rugs were removed, and I'll get some UV lights.
The reason it looks bad is.
She just sworn in, so she.
Oh, I'm sorry. What, she had her hand up. Is
I'm the wife.
Oh.
I.
She had her hand up.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
Okay,
Well,
so
let me finish.
Properly speaking.
But we'd been working in contact with Patrick Doyle, and I'd been doing therapy in the swimming pool twice a day for an hour each day time, and I was getting better and better, and now I'm walking. So miracle of miracle of miracles. And Rick Nichols, that was the guy that was supposed to be doing the lawn. And I don't know why he didn't. We had paid him, and so we just want a chance to fix up the house. You see already we got the yard looking good,
a little bit bad.
but it was looking bad.
But when
If you could state your.
I'm sorry,
Anna.
it's Anna Dvorak, 8648 Green Street, Port Richey, Florida.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Come talk to them.
And when they took the rugs out of the house, instead of doing it organized, like move this and then take the rug out and move it back, they just helter-skeltered it all over. So
That's why it looks so bad.
And that's why it looks so bad, because whoever was in there said the house wasn't suitable to live in. And I
'cause
could agree
all
with
the
that
furniture
part,
is
because
just
we have
all-
to just put all the furniture back the way it was.
Or
Because
get rid of it.
because when they took the rugs out, they just made a complete mess of the house, like through the furniture and our belongings and chairs and other things that we had. And when we had, so that's why, but the bedrooms look fine. The bathroom floor was clean, so was the
The water that
foyer.
came in was very clean.
So our house, there's no mold. If somebody wants to come in and see it, there's no
Okay.
mold on those
Come in a
walls.
couple of weeks, you'll see. And
And
if you want me to remove the gyp rock for the first 6 inches, so I have rough cut pine boards that I got, they're full 12-inch by 1.25 inches. I could rip them in half and put a nice big board around if that's what you require.
But-
But I think if I just painted it with kills and put new plastic baseboard. So I'm just asking you for a couple of months, and you'll see how nice it'll be.
Does that conclude your statement?
Huh?
Does that conclude your statement?
Oh, are you finished talking? Well, we're pleading that you give us a chance to fix the house.
Yeah.
And now that he's able to walk, we will be hiring people to help us do that. And we, like you say, he's been there since 1979. And we really like the area and we like the house. And that new roof, I mean, the roof isn't even a year and a half old yet.
2 years.
2 years
Very
old.
expensive roof, triple underlay, the most expensive.
And
So you'll see, it's Galvalume, it's beautiful.
so once we'll start cleaning up inside, start cleaning up outside, which we were doing that today as well. So I'd
Well,
really
yeah,
appreciate
we'll fix
it.
it up, and if,
If you could work with us, and see how we progress, that we're not gonna slack off on this, because
Well,
this is
we're
our
here.
home, and
Yeah, we'll be
because
here.
he was in bed for a year and a half, that's why we
couldn't
weren't
come here
We
after
couldn't
Alina,
come
so
here.
we just hired people.
And so we hired
And they weren't good
a
enough.
group to take out the carpets. Patrick Doyle was working with us, so we were really
We were-
shocked
yeah, we were fine.
when he told us that they're
Slum and Blight.
gonna do Slum and Blight. So that was pulled, anyway. And also too, Rick Nichols was cutting the grass, but he wasn't trimming.
He
So
wasn't, I don't know.
so
why. We've
it
known
doesn't-
him for a long
I
time.
agree,
He's
it
a
doesn't
neighbor.
look good, and,
He was doing 3 hours in a row.
but we have pictures from before where
Yeah, I
the
can show you
property
beautiful
looks
pictures.
really
And I
good.
keep the land down the road to 2 lots as a beautiful park.
Anyway, so basically, we're just trying
And if you
to,
could help Cheryl next door, her daughter has,
never mind, that's
Okay.
nothing for. So basically, we would like your help or your,
yeah, just get an
Just-
extension and you'll see.
give us some
Get all
time and watch our progress.
So I was surprised, all the houses are still here. I thought
And
they'd
it's
all be
not, there
taken
is no
down.
structural damage to the house
No.
inside.
We called
We called the engineer.
Beryl
Burl.
from,
Is it
and they said,
Burl?
well, with water, that few inches of water, foot of water, it doesn't do anything structurally.
Because I know there wasn't that much water in the house, because when I go away, I always take my comforters and drape them over a door. And so when I looked at the comforter that was over the door, it wasn't soaking wet on the bottom, so.
That's good. Okay. Okay, thank you. So next step in the process is there's questions from the property owner by the building official. So I'll pass that to the building official for any questions he has. No questions? Okay. Next is questions of the property owner by council. So I'll open up city council if there's any questions from council.
Are you living in this home now?
No,
No, we're not living in the house. No, well, because they told us that
Not
we
to.
can't, we
but they
spoke
told
to.
us we can work on it and take our stuff out.
Well, they said we could take our stuff up, so we were waiting before doing any work to get your agreement that we can do some work in the house.
I haven't slept in, or eaten in 2 days. I'm so worried about
We're
this.
stressed out. And I know we can fix it, and I know it'll look good, and I know once we fix it and everything's done to it, that you will approve.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dale.
Yeah. Nobody wants to lose their house or where they live, and now,
This is overwhelming to me just to look at. You know, the amount of work that needs to be done there and the condition of the pictures I'm looking at.
I don't know what
Well,
pictures.
yeah, I don't know the
I don't know
pictures.
what pictures you got, because I know that one picture that we did see is when they took a picture of the living room, dining room area.
No, I see a picture of a tree that's fallen.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
that's it.
Caved in the support above the window. I see that,
Okay.
right?
is that recent or was that from
Yeah,
before?
that's the big tree. No, that's the,
If that could,
Happy to let them.
yeah, if that gets to be the what we're looking at up here.
Because
This is part of the agenda, so here you go.
the,
Yeah, this is actually posted on the website, so they're out there. Maybe you didn't get a chance to see it, but here's the pictures.
yeah, when we finished the roof,
oh,
we didn't,
that, we never, when we
that's-
finished the roof, we didn't finish
that's the
the under.
soffit.
That's the soffit. We didn't put that back up. And then, and
Concrete lentil above the window that's completely broken in half. It's a structural.
If you could tell me what page you're looking at, I can show exactly.
It's a picture. And let me get back to my pictures. One
It
second.
shouldn't be the page number on it.
No, just the corner of it here.
oh,
Okay.
Oh, actually, page numbers has a picture.
oh,
Give me one second.
This
I
one
didn't
here,
see
yeah.
that window.
Right here, right?
Was it the second set, Chris? I think.
I'm getting ready to go back. It is, I'm on page 143.
This is the one he's looking
Oh, this? Yeah, 140.
Yeah, here,
And it shows a lentil from a header from a tree that has fallen on the house
right?
past that area.
So we'll
Oh, she's got it.
we'll fix that.
Right there, that one. It's 143.
Right there, yeah. Here's a few. There's some more. There's some more where you show the block is corrupted and broken on the side of the window.
Right. We'll get a bricklayer, a masonry, and we'll reform that and repour it.
I'm,
Rebar.
here's all I'm trying to say. This is overwhelming for me to look at. I'm a very skilled, talented guy,
Okay.
and
Okay, here I see
Oh,
it.
okay.
I'm trying to put myself in your shoes right now, and I'm having a hard time visualizing being able to accomplish the work that needs to be done here. And
We'll hire somebody we'll reform it and report, and hopefully we can salvage the rebar in there, put rebar in.
Because there's been no water coming into the house,
The
and
roof's still good, the roof's not leaking anymore.
and the roof's not leaking.
I can see where the Galvin would do it. And listen, I'm not going against you guys.
Right.
Please don't think that, okay? I'm just trying to make some good decisions here. You know, envisioning that one day I'm gonna be standing where you are, looking back at one of my houses, and I'm gonna be looking at the same situation. This is overwhelming. What are your goals? Can I ask you that?
That's where the damage you see, that's the Florida room. Anyway, that's built on with a flat roof on top. You can see part of the tree here, but the tree's gone
The
except
tree's
for
gone.
except for the stump.
All that has been removed, and the roofer was there, and I think he did.
Well, no, we took the tree, and
The tree is gone.
And those windows have been replaced?
Well, not yet, because they didn't tell us that we could do anything to it. And yes,
yeah,
we
he
would,
told us we couldn't do anything.
until
And
we
we couldn't,
would
and the
have
guys
this hearing.
that quotes see that sign out front, and they say, well, once you get that sign done, we can do work, then we'll give you a quote.
The section that they're pointing out with the concrete lintel, you probably agree with me, I've built several houses, that whole roof completely, frame and everything needs to come off for that to be repaired. You can't just patch the roof. Any roofer would get up on top of that to do that. It's strange to me. That's steel and concrete lintels over the windows for support. It's like that have over doors. So
Well,
that whole roof has to come off if you don't want to use
Well,
it.
that's a new roof.
It'll be demoed.
The ceiling is off. We took the ceiling off because the inspector wouldn't let us put 2x6s. So what we did is we doubled up each 2x4. So the whole ceiling is off, so it'd be easy to just lift the roof up a little bit to work there.
An old roof like that don't just lift up.
Huh?
An old roof like that isn't going to just lift up.
it's not easy to lift up.
No, but I
Basically,
used to have a house wrecking business, so I know what you're saying, but it is possible to lift it.
I mean, at the end of the day, a skilled craftsman could easily go in there and fix this stuff.
Right.
And
We'll get
that's
one.
not even where I'm going right now.
Okay.
You were looking at a small thing here, and we got a bigger picture. What do you guys plan on doing with this house?
I think,
we want to live in it.
well, I don't know. We're getting old.
So you're not living in another home permanently right now, or
I'm coming into my 80th year, so
I understand that's why we're having a conversation.
We would like to repair the house and, get it back in order the way it should be and the way we've
And the neighbor-
had it. And never mind the neighbor. And,
he really wants to buy it. He's an executive from Hilton Hotels, and he wants to buy it for his daughter-in-law, but
anyway,
his wife is very nice.
But in the meantime, we've removed the trees in the back. Until now, I haven't seen these pictures. And I believe that with my husband's expertise.
Well, no, we'll
of
get
being
somebody.
a builder himself, and he has.
And we can
done
give you
every-
the specs, like
And-
what kind of concrete we're pour,
And
or if
if-
you want a
if that's-
steel lentil, we can put a steel one in.
Building department things, that's not really our department.
Okay.
Trying to make a decision. It's come to the point where we're a year plus past the storm,
Okay.
Yeah.
He has a job to do.
Right.
Right.
The blighted properties, and looking at these pictures here, you're like, wow, this one's definitely not been taken care of.
Well,
And I understand the aging thing. I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm trying to, have you talked this through with any other family members? Have you all thought about it?
it's just,
It's just you two, that's it? There's nobody else helping you at all in the family?
Well, my cousins would come down, but yeah, we're Polish, so we're good, hardworking people. And, but I would just get somebody to reform that, or else I'll go to the building part, see if I can put a steel lentil in. Steel lentil might be the easiest route to go.
If I could ask a question, you'd mentioned that you had, I think it was Barrel Engineering that came in.
engineering, yes.
Was there a report that you have that you could submit to council to review?
They only knew that there was flooding. We didn't know about this.
So you don't have anything from the engineer, basically, at Document Stadiums?
Well, we were.
See, when we had to redo the roof, the inspector wanted wanted us to get an engineer, so finally we found Beryl, and because all the other ones wanted 5,000.
Okay, never mind what
And
they
he came and
wanted.
he said, there's nothing wrong with the roof that normal roofers don't handle. And so we have that report.
But we would call Burl again and let them have a look at this and see what they suggest.
Okay. Any other questions for council?
Well, I have a couple questions. Did you get a claim from your insurance company? Was it insured?
No.
You didn't have any insurance? You self-insured? You said you had someone interested in purchasing the house and the property?
Or, I don't know if he's still interested. I haven't spoken with him in a
But we
while.
would like to get it fixed first.
Well, it may be worth him purchasing the property so you can maybe live somewhere else. I don't know what he's offering for it. Not really in my business, but I mean, there's options out there.
Right.
This is a major malfunction.
Okay, but this is one corner of a Florida room.
Major malfunction in that corner.
Bedrooms are fine, the dining room, living room is fine, the bathroom is fine, the front hall
And
is
the
fine.
Florida
That
room
is the only corner
It's only
that
12 feet wide,
that
so
has a problem,
so
and
there's
it's
not
a
much
small
weight
room.
laying on that lintel.
There's another picture that shows a inside picture of the roof. That's actually
That's the
Yes.
damage before.
Yeah, we never-
Before we changed, when we finished the roof, we went for a little vacation, and that's when I got sick.
Yeah, we knew that we were in the process of taking down, because we wanted to put a different ceiling up in that Florida room. And like you said, it's a small room, and that's why it looks like that. It's because we
Well,
didn't finish it.
I
after
wanted
the
to
roof
take
was done.
the roof off completely and put 2x6s in. And these are 24-inch centers, these 2x4s. So it was silly design because when you're on the roof, it bounces. So now each of these is doubled up. Some of them are tripled up, the full 12 feet. And so because the engineer wouldn't let us go to 2x6s, he made us stay with 2x4s. Not the engineer, the inspector.
Inspector.
okay. Any other questions from council? Okay. Seeing the next step in the process is the building official to present facts and evidence in support of the order to demolish, and I'll pass that to the building official.
Okay. Can you make us a copy of one of them? And I'll send it to Burl. Okay.
Give me 1 second to get the
We would just,
pages back in order.
can I still speak?
Sure, if you get something else, say it quick.
We would just like the opportunity to be able to
To work with you.
work with you
Understood.
or have you work with us so that we can fix that part of the roof that that we just saw, which is that, like I say, it's a small part of the house. The rest of the house is fine. You know, so I
I think a steel lentil would be the route to take because it's a lot easier.
Yeah, understood. And have the opportunity when the building official basically tell us the facts and evidence in support of the order to demolish. So we need to hear that to hear what his side is.
Please state your name,
Tony Bryan?
and you're the building official for the city of Port Richey.
Yes, I am.
How long have you been the building official for Port Richey?
Year and 2 months
How long have you been a building official?
since 1997.
Okay. On August 14th, 2025, did you issue a slum and blight notice, which can be found in pages 88 and 89 of the packet in the agenda, for 8648 Green Street?
Yes, I did.
Can you explain to council, I know on page 89 of the agenda packet, there is a sheet that has highlights on it. Could you go through that and explain to council the reasons you have determined that 8648 Green Street should be put on the slum and blight notification list?
As far as with the slum and blight, you have 7 comments. You have to meet at least 1 to become slum and blight. The first one is the structure or portion thereof has been extremely damaged by fire, flood, wind, or natural phenomenon such as the building or structure is substantially destroyed or poses an immediate and manifest danger to the life, health, and safety to the general public or occupants, which it does. Because we've got water, we've got road barrier violation, we have a tree that went through the roof that's broken lintels, so the building is structurally unsafe.
I didn't go through the roof.
Number 2, the structure is unsanitary or is so utterly fails to provide the amenities essential to decent living that is manifestly unfit for human habitation, or is likely to cause sickness or disease or injury to the life, health, and safety of the general public or occupant. Got a house that has been flooded, been sitting for over a year, got a hole in the roof. We've got the damage there. It might have plaster, but I can tell you right now, if you pull the plaster away, you're going to find mold, because mold will grow on 2x4s. Number 3, the structure or a portion thereof due to decay, deterioration, or dilapidation is likely to fall or fully or partially collapse. You've got the whole back section of this house that is caving in. So it could fall at any time. Number 4, the conditions of the structure or a portion thereof poses an imminent threat to life or property by fire or other causes. The building can collapse, so nobody can live in the house. Number 5 is for the site to be cleared. That has nothing to do with it. Number 6, there is a serious or substantial falling away. There's nothing falling away from the house. Number 7, the structural parts have become so dilapidated, decayed, or deteriorated, or there is an unusual sagging or leaning out of plumb of the building or any part thereof, caused by deterioration or overstressing of the structure or structural parts, that the structure is manifestly unsafe. If we've got a 12-foot room with 2x4s for rafters 24 inches on center, they're overspanned. So that could be an imminent danger at any time. Minimum is going to be a 2x6. And for an inspector to tell them that it's a 2x4 is all you can do, it doesn't work. So I don't know who the inspector was, but that's the extent of it. But this is the letter, and those 5 items are what I have found.
Could you go through the photographs that are contained in the agenda? There's a set of photographs that are page number 90 to page number 97 that were taken when the slum and blight notice was issued. Do any of those 7 pictures help you show council how those 5 criteria have been met?
Yes.
Can you explain that? Tell them what page you're on.
Number 92 is one part of it, where you can see there's the opening up in the roof, up in the top corner. Very back edge there, you see the sun shining through the soffit, where there is no soffit. Besides the debris that's through there. And if you look at the windowsill, right at the windowsill, you see dirt, debris from flooding that's there. So that's 3 feet of water.
You mean deep?
Any other?
Only inches in the house.
Number 93, it's debris slung everywhere.
That's our goods.
That's
our
how
stuff.
they.
Okay, 94, you've got the hole in the roof. That means it's at one time this roof has leaked, had water in it. Drywall on the ceiling is paper back. Mold gloves, paper.
That's not drywall, it's just rock.
Sir, I give time.
That's from when the tree originally.
95 is the same picture. 96 is just another area within the back room. 97 is the same picture.
Now, when you look
There's
at the
4.
looking at the second set of photographs that are pages 129 through 146 of the agenda, which were just taken on November 18th of 2025. Can you look through those and direct counsel to any of the photographs, anything in those photographs that help support the 5 conditions that you have determined that this house is met for demolition?
Yeah, 134 shows the soffit. Everything is missing there, which is a rodent barrier violation. So that means anything rodent-wise, squirrel, raccoon, rat can get in, build a nest that becomes uninhabitable. Number 35 shows the tree that was laying on the roof. It also shows the block wall that's busted all out, the lintel that's partially collapsed with all of the soffit fascia missing. 36 shows more soffit and fascia that's missing all across the back, which is the rodent barrier violation, and also shows the window that's down on the backside that's been busted out. 37 is the same picture. 38 is just an up close of the window We're showing the lintel across, and the block is all blown out. The windows are open. The house is unsafe, and it's not secured for people to be just wandering in and out. 39 shows the tree that caused the damage and probably busted all of its block work up. And then the other picture on 40 is just showing the tree trunk that was over the house that's laying on the ground. And if you look at the sill below that window, you can see where the sill itself, the block has been split and cracked because there's not going to be a seam there, and you can see that it's traveled down. 141 showing some of the roof material and a lot of debris that's piled up on the side. Still has soffit material that's missing. And then picture 140 is showing, or 140, looks like 142 is showing the soffit. It's showing the roof that's been partially collapsed on the corners with the soffit over and the fascia board hanging down. 143 is showing the back. It shows where the tree laid across the back of the house. Now, and there's this window that's to the left is where the crack is on the far side of it. And then we also have the lintel over the porch area that is all shattered, along with everything being opened up. And then there's the lintel over top of the other window in page 144, and you can see the stair-stepping cracks and cracking of the block all the way down the wall next to the window. 145 shows the end of the tree that was laying across the roof and has buckled the fascia. So more likely the double roof has been damaged. And 146 is just showing more soffit and fascia that's missing, and it's a road barrier violation.
Is there anything that you've heard today from the appellants that changes your opinion that the home, the structure at 8648 Green Street should be demolished?
No.
We don't have anything else on that?
No.
That's all.
Okay. Next step process is the applicant has the opportunity to question the building official. So you guys can ask any questions to the building official this time.
Well, we finished the roof. We took the soffit off all around, and you can see it's all 3/4 inch plywood that we put down. We took the old boards out because they were pine boards, and we put 3/4 inch plywood. So we went for a little holiday, and I got sick. And so that's why the soffit's not done. But there's no damage to the metal roof. It's to the floor of the room.
I'm just...
Yeah, okay.
And what you call debris inside the house is because we were working on because the roof was being worked on and having the metal roof put on, we had a lot of wood and everything still inside the Florida room and all the tools, and that's where we were working from, and that's why you think that's all debris.
And we went away for a little holiday, and I got sick.
But that's not debris in there, that's all usable boards and things that were being used at the
So
time.
we'll work with you. Just give us a chance. You'll see, a couple of months. We'll work with you every day. Because we didn't know it was that bad. Patrick Doyle never told us that.
Every time we spoke to him, he said, "Oh, everything's fine, you'll be fine."
And we were shocked when we got this.
Did you have any more questions for the building official?
Well, he's an engineer, right?
Nope.
Oh, you're not.
I don't claim to be an engineer. I'm not licensed as an engineer.
So whatever, if we get Beryl Engineering, you follow their...
No.
No?
I don't have, there's nothing in state law that says I have to follow an engineer's requirement.
Okay, and then a lot of the stuff that you see wasn't caused by the storm, it wasn't caused by damage by the tree. It's just that it's work that we just didn't finish after we put the roof on.
Okay, so that house has been open like that for over a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so who knows what's in the attic? Because it's been left open.
Well, so far we haven't seen anything. You're right. So let's close it up and we'll catch whatever's in the attic. But there's no food there, so I don't think anything would live in the attic. Maybe squirrels, but...
Any further questions?
Any what?
Further questions for the building official?
Yeah, give us a chance, give us a couple of months.
Well, it's not a question. I appreciate the question. I mean, do you have any specific questions?
We just got here yesterday. We didn't know the damage.
We didn't.
We haven't assessed it all. We've been cleaning up the yard.
Okay.
And then
And Patrick, nobody sent us these pictures. We never saw them.
Okay.
we've had 3 people, like, Rick Nichols has been mowing the grass, but apparently he doesn't do any trimming.
Well, he didn't.
And then he's also been in the house, and he has the one that opens the windows and leaves them open, and there's fans going on in
The whole time there's been fans on.
fans going, and he looks after that. And so he comes in and he airs it out.
And
Opens the windows,
and the
and
guy,
then he comes back and he closes.
and the,
goes
g-
out.
Yeah, and appreciate the detail, but this is a time to question a building official with specific questions. If you had any questions, we can proceed, but if not, I need to move on to council.
Well, other than,
we're just finding out about this. Let us take a good look at it and we'll work with you.
You were notified August
Yeah,
of this.
yeah,
I
he's
was
been
in
in bed for a
I've
year
only
and a
been
half.
walking 2 weeks now.
I know.
Okay, thank you. Next on the process is questions of the building official by council. So is there any questions for the building official by council? Chris?
Yes, I'm gonna push the button and I'm gonna try this formula to work as best I can. This is apparent. I just saw a letter from Biloxi, Mississippi here. These people don't live here in this house. Is there a path for correction here that you can think of? Is there a reasonable path for correction here for this homeowner? Because it's not like they've been jerking us around and telling us they're going to do this and that and everything else. They just haven't done anything. He got sick. Is there a path for correction?
I would say it's probably more money than they want to spend.
Oh, no, you don't know us.
So it would require
A lot of money.
written plan drawings
Yep. Because we have
Submitted.
structural problems.
submitted.
Yep.
Is there, or would you be, and this is my question to you, would you be okay if we gave them a brief window? If they're saying they're gonna drop trowel and start writing checks, is there a path that you would say, hey, if you guys did this, I would be okay with this? Is there a path for that?
I would say that's up to you guys.
And that we're looking to you for guidance on that, because what we don't want to do is undermine your expertise, but we also want to make sure that if we have a homeowner that is willing, because some of them aren't willing. Some of them are like, they'll tell you this and they'll just jerk us around.
Like they have been.
Well, they've been gone for.
No.
Oh, you talking about other homeowners? Yes, sir. Like they have been. Yes, sir.
Well,
But we have to err on the side
I
of
know.
conservatism.
And I will tell you, 30 years I was a framer
Mm-hmm.
in this state. I know what it takes to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
Besides being the building official for the years that I've been a building official,
Mhm.
I know the cost. I know the money involved. The catch is, by the time they put everything together, it's probably going to end up over 50%. And then they're either going to have to raise it, demo it, or move it.
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask that question.
That's a great point Tony just brought up. If you guys aren't aware of that, what you're aware of what the 50% rule is?
No.
Okay, so I'll spend a minute to do this if I can.
Thank you.
Okay, when a house is damaged greater than 50% of its current market value in the condition it's in, you can no longer fix that house where it is. You either have to demolish it or you have to raise it up. It's one of two choices. And based on the 50% rule, I'm looking at what Tony's looking at. You very possibly right now could have over 50% damage to your home. And that would put you in a category where you could not fix your home.
The damage is only to the Florida room. It's nothing damage to the main house.
Well, yes, this is a question for the building official. So
No, I'm trying to understand. So when we make this decision, I have to make it based on fact.
You could rebuild
I can jump in real quick.
Yes, sir.
Kind of follow up to that. Tony, has this been substantially damaged determination or no?
That's what I'm trying to look now to see.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm listening to what Tony's saying. I don't hear Tony kicking his heels in the dirt right now, saying this has to happen. But I don't know if you guys realize what you're getting into.
Well, I'm a builder.
I understand.
I used to build.
and I'm a little bit younger than you are, and sometimes I can't accomplish things I accomplished at one time too. And that's not me being a smart rear end. That's me telling you I know what my limits are.
Well, just give us some time and we'll work with them.
We'll prove
And
it to you.
Yeah.
If we can't prove it to you on your time limit that you would give us, then
Because you can buy prefab lentils too and just put it in. And he'll see that every 2x4 is tripled. I put it in like that because I didn't want, and it's only, the room's only 12 feet wide. And so and that was because the building inspector didn't want us to put 2x6s.
I can just
Get Christine real quick. Christine, you have a question? For the building official?
So
No,
it looks like,
She's been waiting.
according to the property appraisals, property record card, the assessed value is 195, 150. And at 50%, you're looking at 80 something $1,000. Is that correct? Plus the 15%. So basically, it looks like it would have to be under $100,000 to fix the entire property. Is that correct?
Just a Florida room.
I understand, but there's a lot going on with that house. Who can I ask questions? I can ask.
Bill Fisher.
Tony, in your opinion, with what you've seen there, the repairs to this building would far exceed the 100,000?
I'll let you know in 1 second.
Okay.
Lisa.
I'm just missing a real timeline of this. It's just, they just came back 2 days ago. I understand you went on vacation, you were sick, but where's all that middle part? Where, since the hurricane hit, what happened? I'm missing the whole middle.
It's this question of Tony, correct?
We hired people to take the rugs out and dry the whole place. The place has been dry nonstop.
Tony has a question about the timeline. Lisa, a question about the kind of the middle stuff.
Yes, I'm missing all the middle stuff. There was a hurricane, and then 2 days ago they came in and saw all this damage.
That's it.
Let me add.
Okay,
It's in.
I don't see a timeline.
It's in your packet on page 89 of your agenda is the letter that went out. It's 88 and 89 actually that went out.
89?
88 and 89 was issued on August 5th, 2025. It was sent to these folks to let them know the building official's determination and telling them what the next steps are.
Was it received or was it rejected, returned, not received?
My understanding.
It's in there.
My understanding is one was returned, the other was not. And I'll tell you, ultimately it was received because then you had a notice of appeal filed by these individuals, by these folks. And that's found in your agenda packet on page 118 to 121. So they received notice, they asked for their appeal, and we're here today to give them that opportunity. So I want to also just remind you, and it's also in your packet, that this began back in 2023. This didn't start in 2025. So if you look in your agenda packet on page 105, you'll see a former slum and blight letter that was sent in 2023.
Prior to the flood.
Because of the tree.
Because of the tree.
Yeah.
This is not new.
That tree is as big as a subcontact.
Yeah.
Three people can't put their.
And it's good.
but we got the.
Hold on a second.
So does that help with the timeline, Councilwoman Burke?
Well, a little bit, yeah, because it was just that there was damage when. I didn't know it was 23. I mean, I missed something in there. So, and then all I know is they have no idea and they show up 2 days later, or 2 days ago, but that's a lot of time in the middle that's unaccounted for, at least in my mind.
So, no, like I mentioned, notice was provided on August 5th, 2025, and I'm trying to find their appeal application in the packet.
So if while you're looking for that, on the March 13th letter, 2023, about the tree, obviously it was slum and blighted. Then was it was resolved and then it was unslum and blighted? Is that?
That's why we put the new metal roof on. We resheathed it all, 3 layers of that expensive underlay, and 26 gauge metal, not 28.
Because normally the process is slum and blight happens, and then an appeal happens. And if appeal doesn't happen, it goes forward.
I don't think anyone here knows exactly what happened in 2023.
Okay.
Because neither of us were involved.
Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Ms. Sullivan, 106, 400. That's $100 a square foot, which is half of what normally would be to repair.
in your opinion of what the repairs?
Can we make sure that the microphone's on, please?
In your opinion of what the repairs will cost?
Yep.
Or exceed that?
Which is over 50%. Now, if they bring a contractor, that's, by looking at the numbers, it makes sense, possibly could be under. But as far as with what I would use, as far as what out of the 7 visits with FEMA that we've done, that would be the numbers that I would use. Because I've stayed out of trouble with FEMA by using those numbers.
Right.
Let's this time frame to question the building official.
I've got a question for the building
But,
official.
I tell you, if you guys have more questions for anybody else when we move to our council consideration, we can ask during that time.
If you choose to open back up questions to the appellant, you can, if you collectively decide you can do that. It also just obviously allows the building official to ask questions
Sure.
of the appellant. It kind of opens the process.
Yeah.
up.
So if we could follow the process now, when we get back, if we're going to open it back up, we can do that.
Let's add a quick question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
For Tony and Nancy as well, if we decided to allow Mr. and Mrs. Dork 30 or 60 days to get started on this project, if we approve it today, if someone gets hurt out there, someone's child, if that house catches on fire and burns up a neighbor's house or anything, anybody gets hurt or sick from what's happened out there, are you responsible, building official in the city?
I'm not, because I've already put it in slum and blight. But city could be.
Like I'm always going to say, you can always be added to a lawsuit. Doesn't mean it's going to go farther. You're following your process. If you follow your process, you should be insulated from an ultimately adverse decision, but there's never a guarantee.
Well, could I indemnify them?
It's not time for that.
That's all.
Any other questions for the building official? Chris?
Tony, if we gave them 90 days, to have plans submitted in your office and approved, and it was under the 50% rule, is that something that would work?
That's your choice. Say yes or no because it's put to you guys, not to me.
Can I ask a question? Tony, is that undermining your knowledge? Would you take that as undermining?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. I'm here to do my job and you guys are here to do yours.
Okay.
Any other questions, Chris?
No, I'm good. I've heard what I need to hear from Tony.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
If I may, I
Sure.
want to finish to make sure Councilwoman Burke's question got answered about the timeline and the dates. So the letter regarding the slum and blight was sent out on August 14th, 2025, separate from the 2023 stuff that happened. August 14th, 2025, the letter was sent. The request for an appeal was signed on September 16th, 2025. So it was received within a few days, and then now they're here. So they did know about it. And as you've heard, nothing has been worked on.
Well, but we were told.
So yeah, basically my concern was between the time this happened and I guess before August, before they were notified. So what happened in all that time? That's what my question was.
We work with Patrick Doyle.
But have you said you talked, oh, I can't talk to you. I'm sorry.
They talked with Pat.
There's a procedure.
They
So
talked with Mr. Doyle, the code enforcement officer. He has sort of kept them in the loop of what's been going on. He has been told several times, we will be down this weekend, and never showed up. So you can take it for that part of it.
he did say he got sick. So he did say he got sick. That's understandable. But that, yeah, I wanted to just know how long. So it seems like it's been a while.
Anything else?
It won't.
It's not time.
1 second, sir. Any other questions for the building official? Okay. Nick?
If we can open it.
Yeah,
back.
when I get to that. Nancy, there's just as a point of clarification and process. I don't see any public comment. I know there's some public comment for this. Does that come after the decision by council or when?
It's not, you don't have to allow public comment in quasi-judicial appeals, but if you'd like to allow it, you can allow it whenever you feel it's appropriate.
Okay, so I think that's probably this is the best time to have any public comment is before we have the final summaries. So that I'm going to open up the floor for any public comment. I do have one signed up. Brian Duke, welcome. If you guys could just move over to the side so the public can speak.
Good evening, Brian Duke, 8716 Green Street. Would like a little bit of latitude. I'm here this evening to discuss the two yellow tag houses on Green Street, marked to be torn down. We've been talking about it. But on behalf of John Howard, who lives right next door to these folks, he sent me a text this afternoon, and he wanted me to share that with you along with my comments. So here's what he said. Brian, please express to the City Council of Port Richey what a mess this house has been since we have lived in at 8700 Green Street. The roof was exposed to the elements for many years. It was finally fixed in 2024. The city has this on record. The backyard has been a nuisance for many years with overgrown grass, weeds, and trees creating wildlife nuisance. Our tabby cat Charlie recently killed a 12-inch rat from the backyard, and we have witnessed many raccoons and possums back there. There's a hole underneath the left side of the house where animals were living. You can see the prints. Imagine the water filling up that cavity during the recent hurricane. During Hurricane Helene, which you all been talking about, a giant tree fell in the backyard onto the house, creating a hole in the roof. This was never fixed, and for 15 months, the outside weather has been entering their house. Additionally, from Helene, water entered their house, and it was never repaired or cleaned. I drive up and down the street every day, and there was nothing coming in and out of that house. This is the best one. The stench coming from the house during the past summer was overwhelming. The front yard is overgrown as well. Neighbors have taken turns trying to mow the front yard. Since we have lived next door, the owners barely made an impact to the house, and since the hurricane, they have not taken any responsibility for maintenance of the house. We as neighbors cannot continue to stand by and watch the house deteriorate further. After neglect, must be torn down. Thank you, John Howard, 8700 Green Street. My comments additionally, it's come to my attention, and you can all look this up, I wish you would. The owners of this house have not had water usage since 1998. So they don't live here. They come down and live in their car and do whatever they do. This house must be torn down. Additionally, the house sitting right next to him at 8642, the person who lived in the home has evacuated, and to my knowledge, this was a reverse mortgage situation, and the bank is now the legal owner. I say this for this reason. And this home has had no remediation or anything. As council knows, most of Green Street experienced substantial water intrusion except the two houses at the end, mine and my next door neighbors. I'm in the process of selling my home to move out of Florida. When prospective buyers come down Green Street, these two houses give Green Street and Port Richey a complete black eye. As a homeowner, these houses are hurting the value and process of me selling my property. Respectfully to the council, I request Port Richey City Council do their job and vote to have these houses demolished immediately. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you. That's all the silence I have. Is there any other show of hands like comment? Again, it's not this time public comment. So, anyone else? Okay. So bring it back. Next step in the process is final summary by the property owner. So I'll invite the property owner back up.
If they have, if I may jump in again, if there's more questions for anybody, I think do that now.
Before we find,
and then we'll summarize once it's all done.
I think consensus of council would like to open back up for more questions, or
No, I don't.
I've got a question.
okay. So I'm going to open up questions back. So if you guys come back to the podium, I'm going to open up questions for the council to the property owner.
See, his son died of COVID, and he wants to buy my house.
Sir, could you let me
We have a question from council.
Mr. Howard, yeah. His son died of COVID.
Danny, if he's got a question for you.
Oh, okay.
I've got a question. Have you not had water usage in this house since 1998? Yes or no?
No.
You have not?
No.
Where do you live?
Well, we lived there, but when
Do you live there 27 years ago?
yeah, in Cheryl's water next door, which I just have a hose with two two female ends, and I hook it up to hers, and then I pay her water bill whenever we're there in the winter. I pay her whole bill, so we have water. But not city water, because it's $90 to turn it on, $90 to turn it off. So
We're getting ready to make it,
okay.
okay? Whether to continue with tearing your home down or to give you a chance to get your home back where it belongs. And I need to understand the latitude and the reality of the situation. The situation reality is this is not your home, okay? You live somewhere else.
Well, since we retired, we travel.
Travel a lot. That's true. We do travel a lot, and we stay in different U.S. hotels and stuff like that. But and then we have come back several times. We've
But
put on property.
the power's on all the time.
Another statement, please. Here you have neighbors, your neighbors. These are not us. These are not people who live on different streets. These are people on Green Street saying they want to sell their house, but your house is in such dilapidated condition that they can't sell their house. Is that fair to you?
No, that's not fair to them.
It's not fair, is it?
No.
It's not fair at all. And we have to take that into consideration right now as we think about this.
That's why, but once we finish, if you want to see pictures.
We will
when
fix
finish
it.
That roof.
We'll sell it if you want.
Beautiful. The house looked beautiful. We had it,
It's a
we repainted it ourselves.
It's a $44,000 roof. We didn't pay that.
We did all the grass. It looked beautiful. It wasn't.
I even took all the tiles off and sold the tiles to a company in Orlando.
Any more questions?
And then that Mr. Howard who lives next door, he was bugging us.
So you guys are gonna have opportunity to do a final summary, and then when we have that final summary, you can have the floor to have your final summary, and please bring that stuff up then. I just
So what's on your driver's license?
Florida,
Address, where do you live?
8648 Green Street. You want to see it? What's in the car?
No, take your word for it. It doesn't sound like you live there at all, though, so.
I do, since 1979. That's my home address.
Property taxes last week.
And we own the two lots down the road. I was going to build two houses there while I was raising my kids.
Okay, any other questions?
Just give us a chance, and we'll see. You can reverse your.
We'll come back to the final summary. So, Nancy, I need to open up questions for the building official.
We'll work with you.
So
you have been living in that house with no water, other than from the house, correct?
Well, the water was on, and with the Harts, see, the Harts used to own John Howard's house.
You have water, yes or no?
Yeah, but not me, not hooked up to the city of Port Richey. We always had water.
First off, the Florida Building Code requires, I'm sorry. The Florida Building Code requires water in a house for sanitary conditions. If you're not hooked up to water and you're running it through a hose, we don't know what pressure that house has versus your house.
Same.
Your house might not be able to handle the same pressure that's in that house. You don't have running water. That's unsanitary conditions.
Yeah, we do. We always have.
You just said you didn't.
Well, not paid city Port Richey water, but we always had either from Cheryl or from the Harts.
I'm done.
No
Okay, no further questions? Okay.
But we'll turn the water on then.
I'm about to open, so.
So no water, no sewage.
Yeah, we got sewage.
No, you can't.
It works.
Oh, okay.
You're not testifying. Carol.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
So,
Thank you, though.
so close questions.
Okay. With the comment that was just made, do you have any other questions about?
No, I'm done.
No. Okay. Since council asked more questions of the appellant, they may want to ask more questions of the building official just to keep
Okay,
it.
do you have more questions for the appellant?
So if there's no water, there can be no sewer.
That's right.
I'll turn the water on tomorrow.
So this is, we're questioning the building official now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm asking the building official, if there's no water, there's no sewer.
That's right.
And building official says
That's
no.
right.
No, so there's no sewer and no water.
No, there is sewer. It's just illegally being used.
It's illegally being used, yes.
Got 30 years of not paying their sewer bill.
We're there.
If I could, so what that means is what if person's water they're borrowing, they're paying for the sewer for their house as well.
We're paying for the neighbor's water.
But irrelevant, but so.
He has no other question.
Okay.
I don't know where we are now.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you guys for
we
asking
open
more
questions back
questions.
up. Have we satisfied all the other things? So we go back to this summary. Okay, so now the next step in the process is the final summary of the property owner. You have the floor. You can...
Okay, with the water, we can show you checks where we paid the Hart's water or we paid Cheryl's water all the time. And then when we were only there for like a couple of days, her husband, John, would just say, just buy me a bottle of blue at Johnny Walker. And we would. Like, it's, you gotta,
Because we travel a lot, we didn't see the point in putting the water on.
no, because you gotta turn it on, turn it off. But the power's always been on, 79 in our name. Never got turned off.
27 years. This is hold side. This is not time question. This is their time to have.
Not 27.
Let the, yep.
It's only
Yeah.
the last 6 years that
No.
we've traveled that much.
No, but the water, we've always, like Mr. and Mrs. Hart, he died, and her daughter took it up north. So I paid her water for, I got the checks, I can show it.
Yeah.
It'll take a while to get them. So we were paying for sewage, but only through another person's house. But I'll turn the water on.
Well, that's what we're trying to do now that we're back, and we knew that there would be a long time that we're gonna be here
But
to
his-
get this house back in order. And yes, we were going to put the water on in the house.
Yeah, we'll see. He might still want to buy our house.
And I
But he
mean,
says he's selling his now.
no, that's the other guy.
That's Howard. You wouldn't
No,
believe
Howard
what,
isn't selling his house,
No?
it's that gentleman that was just talking
Oh.
for Howard. But since Mr. Howard has moved into that house, that where he's living next door to us, he's always complained.
he made me
that
take my
it-
boat away. I had an antique
and
boat.
because of him,
I had
we
to scrap
we
it.
got rid of our
A
ranch,
cedar
got
strip.
on our
One at a time. One at a time needs to speak. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We got rid of our dock, yeah. Okay.
And he's always wanted to buy our house. And we said, no, we're not selling because we like it here and we're living here. We're not young people anymore. We want to stay there.
Well-
And then his wife would complain that the tree in the back of our house
I feel
was shading her backyard, so she
She
couldn't.
loved it, yeah.
But then she put, to keep shade for herself, she put a big blue awning put over where she sits all the time. So like, and they also had called, what did they
Well,
call?
And he rebuilt pontoon boats, and he does it down the street on my property, and he parks his trailers on my property. And I don't mind that, because they're two vacant lots. So,
And
I don't
so
know why he's doing this. He should have,
He never said anything about the new roof that we put on. The place was looking really good. We've also had the backyard cleaned up. Now, before we came back, that whole tree has been removed. All the,
well, no, except the stump.
Well,
I'm trying to
well,
find
okay,
the
but-
sawmill.
but all that stuff that had come down that we saw in the pictures, that's all been removed. So now we can go and mow everything, like the flowers. They're not weeds.
Well, and
they're
I'll
those
even do Cheryl's house,
flowers.
fix it up. She's got a situation, her daughter has got her
Yeah,
locked
never
up just a
mind.
minute in her house, and she calls me and she says, Danny, help me. Joe, please see what you can do. And I say, Tony, the guy that owns Nico, that owns the stainless steel place, he was living with her since her husband died, and he even moved out because of the daughter. And so I called Nico and said, do what you can do for Cheryl. And they won't even give her $25 so she can take an Uber to see. They've told her house is gone, and it is a reverse mortgage.
Understand. Again, if you could just about your property, because that's what we're here to deal with. The other property's not in play here. So.
And then with this gentleman's talking that he's never seen it cleaned up, why didn't he see Julio Hernandez, who was there, who did remove all that rubbish and the tree but our garden, the guy who was supposed to be our gardener, Rick Nichols, he was only doing mowing the grass. He never went in the back to mow.
And he wasn't even picking up the sticks anymore.
So, since we've been back,
We'll get someone
we've already
else.
been working outside to get things that look bad to the neighbors. And now we can go and have the grass completely mowed and trim all the overgrowth in the middle garden and in the backyard.
All we're asking for is 90 days, and so if you
We
guys,
just want, now that we're gonna be here, we will be putting the water on. We know that we were gonna have to be here for a few months in order to get this house organized again. We know it's gonna cost a lot of money, but we're willing to put that out.
because I even told her, hey, go over and see if Cheryl's water's on, because we need water.
Never mind that, we will go have the water
We'll have it put
tomorrow.
on.
Stop.
Yeah.
And like I say, there's power. We've always the utility bills, except like you say, what we pay the neighbors for the water. And as for the house looking so nasty inside.
I know, I couldn't believe the outside. I gotta talk to Nichols.
Looking so nasty inside is because when Mr. Hernandez Julio took out the rugs, instead of moving something here, taking out that rug and moving it back, it's all helter-skelter all over the house. I mean, I was shocked to see that myself. And so now we have to put all the furniture back.
Well, we're
But
supposed to come out.
But I've checked the floors, I've even checked the bathtub. The bathtub doesn't have any dirt in it. The floor in the bathroom is not like you say, if there was all kinds of mud coming in. That floor in the bathroom doesn't show it.
It's tile floor.
It's a tile floor. And the kitchen floor doesn't show that either. And neither does the front doorway show any damage of bad water has coming into the house.
Because when Howard made us take my boat out, I was storing, my dad sent my cedar strip boat, a 16-footer down from Canada, and I didn't want it. And so I was storing it beside the house. And when the building official found out that I had caught up with a Sawzall, I caught up this valuable ferry boat, all because I had Howard. And he fixes pontoon boats, and there's always, I don't know how many he's got now,
Anyway,
and he resells them.
we have, when
I
his-
work with
when
the
his-
neighbors.
Mr. Howard's fence, and he's also putting the fence right on the property.
Yeah,
He didn't
from
leave
our
any-
side.
And he blocked off our, able us to get into our own backyard with our lawnmower.
Well,
But anyway, but he, like I say, he's been wanting to buy our house. He's a little upset that we didn't, and he's also called the city once before, and he said, the lady came and said, asked who we were, because we were there, and she said, oh, somebody said your house was vacant. And I said, well, no, here we are, it's not vacant, we're cleaning it up.
his
So
wife,
any time that we've gotten the code enforcement over there, it's like, unfortunately, because we go away and we sometimes stay a little bit longer than we should. And then but we come back and we clean it all up and it looks really good again. So I'm sorry that the neighbors, these two neighbors are having a problem with this.
we're really close to her, his wife and his sister-in-law. She's over all the time.
But anyway.
Not that close,
maybe
but
they've
close.
given up wanting to buy the house, I don't know. But we would like the opportunity to get an engineer in, see what it's gonna cost to fix it, what needs to be done, and we're willing to put up the money.
Well,
Not like we don't have the money to do
As a
that.
homeowner, I can do it myself. I just hire laborers to work with me.
Understand.
No, you have
No.
to,
So,
no, we'd get rural engineering, we would get.
Why do you have to do,
You can't do it yourself.
Yes, you
because
can,
that's
as
our- No, because you're not a licensed.
folks, again, I appreciate the detail. Again, if you could just focus on your final summary, I think you've made it. And so I need to move on in the process. We've got a lot of other business to work tonight. I want to give you your time for sure. But if we could just stay focused. So is there any last things you'd like to say in your final summary?
We're gonna put the water on.
Okay.
We'd like to get this house organized again so that we can live in it. We definitely will get that. If we have to replace the whole Florida room, we're willing to do that too. And
Okay.
we just need some time
Understand.
to prove to you that we will do this.
Okay. Thank you. Next up is final summary by the building official.
It's going to be me. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it. And with all due respect, I want to focus us back to what we're here for. And it's on page 89 in your agenda, which is page 2 of the slum and blight notice that went from the building official to these folks, explaining to them why the property at 8648 Green Street was being deemed for demolition. There's 7 criteria. The building official testified earlier that this structure meets 5 of them. He only needs to meet 1 to ask this structure to be demolished for slum and blight reasons. You've heard his testimony. He went through the pictures. He explained to you the structural damage, the sanitary issues, the rodent issues that are there, even though maybe they didn't know that, and the building official himself didn't see it. He's seen a lot of these. He knows when there's an opening, he knows what's going to be in there. He's testified to all that with his training and experience to explain to you that this is a dangerous structure. I appreciate that these folks don't want to lose it. They have had time to address this. I'm sorry they didn't do so sooner. Today is not the day to come in and ask for time to address it. They had that time. Today is the day to provide this council with either testimony or information showing this structure is safe, and they have not done that.
Well, because you're not.
It's her
My
time.
turn. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
The other things we've heard that have kind of added on to it, the water issue and these other things, and the cleaning of the yard and how it looks outside, all that adds to the concern about this property. But the main issue that we're here for is the structural safety of this building, and the only evidence you have heard is from this building official that it is not safe, and the pictures show that. And there's no reason to provide time. It is time to deny their appeal and allow them time to demolish the home, or let the city go forward with demolishing the home. Thank you.
Thank you. And then so the last step of the process obviously is to bring it back to council for council discussion and decision. Councilwoman Burke, you mentioned you had one question. I just want to caution that if you do open up questioning, we're going to have to go back and question the same process. So do you still have a question you want to get answered?
Oh, no.
Okay. That being said, so I'm going to pass it back to council for our discussion. I'll start. Obviously, this is a very tough decision council has to make. Nobody likes to make a decision like this, but we have a responsibility to the community to make sure that houses are safe and are not going to hurt people, including the owners. And as the attorney stated, we've had evidence, a significant amount of evidence for the record that shows that this house is in very, very bad shape. I don't know if it'd be possible to even remedy that. That being said, if it does get remedied, it's probably going to have to be lifted out of the floodplain and remedy there. So we've had a lot of evidence to support this effort to demolish. I have not seen, and I asked specifically if there was an engineering report that they could submit to say it was structurally sound. I think that would have been the first thing, if I was a property owner, that I would have entertained. As soon as I get something that says that my house is falling in and all that, the very first thing I do is hire an engineer to produce a report so that I could have that for my appeal hearing. Absent of that, all I'm seeing is a lot of evidence to the contrary. So I would unfortunately not be in favor of honoring this appeal. So I'll open up to council.
Just give us a chance to get Burrell Engineering, because the only structural damage.
This council, I apologize. And again, we've heard your side of it and several times, and I appreciate that. And again, I'm a human up here too, and I want you to make sure you understand that this is the last thing that I want to do is to move forward on this. But based on the evidence that we have before us, I think that's the decision we need to make. So, does council have any other comments?
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
Motion to proceed with the demolition of 8648 Green Street.
Okay, so that's a deny the appeal. Okay,
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a motion a second. Any further discussion? Okay, I've already had public comment. Do I need to open it again or no? Okay. If there is any more further public comment, I'd be happy to entertain it, which is not the applicant, correct? Okay, any other public comment? Okay, seeing none.
What you're voting on here.
So the motion on the table is to deny the appeal and move forward with demolition, and it's seconded, so we're not going to put it to vote.
Let us get the engineer and show that.
Sir, I apologize. We're procedures now to vote, so I'll call a roll call vote.
We're only asking for a little more time.
We heard it, so that we know the answer.
So the motion on the floor that was seconded is to deny the applicant's appeal and to proceed with the demolition of the property. If you can roll call vote.
Councilman Sullivan, your vote?
Yay.
Councilwoman Burke, your vote?
Yay.
Councilman Hubbard, your vote?
Yay.
Okay, we're done.
Mayor, your vote?
Yay.
Mayor Hoover, your vote?
Yeah. Motion carries. We appreciate your time and again, apologize. And I'll be praying for y'all's health. And obviously, if there's anything I can do in the meantime, let me know.
Is there anything I can do legally?
There's you have your options. So I appreciate your time and
Okay, I work with him. I'll get up.
again, sorry, I apologize. So council decision is to move forward on the demolition. So thank you for your time.
How much time would we have?
There is no time. It's done. It's been decided.
So when would you do it?
You're up to.
It's up to you to demo the property. I think it's a time frame 30
Yeah,
days.
I think, and Tony can correct me, I believe it's 30 days for you to demolish, do the demo yourself. If you do not do it, then the city will get bids and have it done.
So I just spent that money on that roof.
I understand. Sir, I apologize. It's a decision of the council to move forward.
A roof, you're just gonna.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to have you escorted out if you don't leave the podium. Okay. Thank you.
Can we get, is there anything that we can do legally?
We can't advise you.
Can't advise you on that one way or another.
You can't what?
I cannot they cannot advise you on your next steps
Okay.
in that fashion.
Thank you. Okay. Next, should we take a quick recess?
It's up to you guys.
You guys want a quick bathroom break? Yes or no? Let's take 5 minutes. Those.
Yeah, mic's off, please.
Yeah, but they're telling you that you gotta get it done.
Oh, my bad.
I rely on him completely for that.
Okay, that was my bad.
Right.
Nancy, if you could do your reading, please.
Ordinance number 25-738, an ordinance of the City of Port Richey, Florida, creating Article 8, Certified Recovery Residences of Chapter 103, Administration and Enforcement of the Land Development Code of the City of Port Richey Code of Ordinances concerning the review and approval of certified recovery residences, making related findings, providing for codification, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. So, open discussion.
I would like to discuss.
Discuss.
I mean, I'm all about recovery. It's John's fault. I'm all about recovery. Okay. Is there any like glaring things that we're not paying attention to here that when we leave this meeting, that somebody's like, oh my gosh, you approved that? And I mean, so somebody help me out with that understanding.
I will add, the only thing I'll add to that is, as explained in the whereas clauses, the language you see is mandated by the Florida legislature.
So this is nothing more than us just falling in line with what Florida already dictates to us.
So you have to have this in place by January 1st of next year.
So I'll make a motion.
Not that it might help.
Those are helpful.
Thank you. Now, next year it might change, but right now this is what we have to do.
I'll make a motion. We adopt. Where's that at?
The required.
The required verbiage. I don't even have it in front of me here.
Motion to approve
Here you
ordinance
go.
25-738.
Yep. The first reading of ordinance number 25-738 to establish a structured framework for the review and approval of certified recovery residences.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, put to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is item number 6, first reading of ordinance number 25-739, amends section 105-167 of the Land Development Code. I'll pass that to Nancy for her reading.
Thank you. Ordinance number 25-739, an ordinance of the City of Port Richey, Florida, amending section 105-167, Article 2, Chapter 105 of the Land Development Code of the City of Port Richey Code of Ordinances regarding plat and replat approvals, making related findings, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date. And I may start here. We talked about this briefly before. The bulk of these changes are required by Florida legislature. The process to have a plat or replat approved can no longer come to you. It must be administrative. So the bulk of the changes you see in here are statutorily driven changes. The process is different. It's administrative. The timeframes are different than what we could do previously. I want to say I did go through this with your planner and your building department, and the only other changes that weren't driven by the legislature on page
161, 162, 163.
It's the I don't know what my page. Oh, I know what.
161.
That's what I did. On page 161. In paragraph 1, you can see that we changed the size of this sheets of paper being used from 21 to 25. It was 21 by 25, now it's 24 by 36. That is making it consistent with Pasco County. It's old information, we just updated it. And I think the only other change that wasn't statutorily driven is previously.
This is just the size of a plat submitted to the city. That's it.
That's it. That was all that part was. Paragraph 2, you can see it used to say 11 copies. We have confirmed with the building department they don't need 11 copies anymore. That was back in the day. They just need 1 paper copy and a digital copy. So that was the other change that's not statutorily driven.
Motion to approve amending section 105-167, Article 2, Chapter 105 of the Land Development Code of the City of Port Richey, Code of Ordinances regarding plat and replat approvals, making related findings, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, put to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, item number 7, approved engineer list for 2025, 2026. I'll pass that to Mr. Butterfield for introduction.
Thanks, Mayor. It's something we do every year. We, of course, don't have our own city engineer on board, so we really rely on the engineers in the private community. Several were here tonight or mentioned tonight. We've got 15 on the list. They all presented their statement of qualifications, and again, most of them we've used extensively in the past, and really rely on them. Sal, do you have anything to add?
Yes. I just want to add that Wade Trim, which is an engineering firm that the city has used for several years, they did issue an SOQ, but it was given to us while after the agenda was built. So I just want to notice that one of two things. It'll come at a later meeting to bring them in as an approved engineer as well. They submitted it after the agenda was built.
So we cannot just add that in?
We could. That's up to council to do that. I did receive an SOQ from them. Like I said, they've been with the city for many years. They've worked on several projects with the city. I know their staff well. We can add them to this list tonight to move forward, or if council wants to see that SOQ because it wasn't included in the agenda, I can bring it to a future meeting.
And so in a motion, if you want it, what's the name of it?
Wade Trim.
Wade Trim. So if you,
I'll make a motion, we put it in.
So if you want to make a motion to add Wade Trim and accept the list.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to add and accept the list of approved engineers for 25, 26.
Okay. Second. I got a motion. Second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing that, put to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is item number 8, discussion of Live Local Act property tax exemption. I'll pass it to Mr. Butterfield for introduction.
Thanks, Mayor. Live Local Act, the goal is to try to provide affordable housing for the workforce. There's a process where, and I may ask Nancy to help me out here, but the Schimberg Center study every year lets you know if the act is applicable. It is for this greater Tampa Bay area, including Pasco and our city. But if you don't opt out of it, then there's a loss of property taxes. So we've got this set up so you can make a motion to opt out or to not opt out. If you don't opt out, there's no action required. It automatically kicks in.
Yeah, and go sure.
I was just going to add, those of you that were here last year, you did adopt a resolution to opt out from this tax exemption. It needs to be done every year. This needs to be done by January 1st, which is why I'm bringing the concept to you. And if you want to pass the resolution, we have to advertise it a little bit differently. So it will come back to you on December 9th, the actual resolution. It's very specific to the Live Local Act, which allows for certain developments, there's a lot of criteria, but essentially like a lower income developments. If you have a developer that qualifies for Live Local, they do a development within your municipality. If you don't opt out, there are tax exemptions for the developer. If you opt out, they will still be charged their taxes. And last year you chose to opt out, so should you have that development, you would get the taxes.
Yeah,
Make a motion to opt out.
Welcome to the resolution. If everyone.
So we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, put to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is number 9, Ajax Paving Industries Deep Base Invoice, Bay Boulevard Paving Project. I'll pass that to Mr. Butterfield for introduction.
Thanks, Mayor. You may have read this, but for anybody that hasn't, the Ajax Paving performed work on the Bay Boulevard Paving Project this past summer. Did a very nice job. But during the project, Ajax had to add several tons of additional base material. It wasn't included in the original estimate. Change order was not requested at that time. That was a mistake. It's very similar to the issue we dealt with earlier in the evening on the Limestone Pier, where there's a process to do a change order, and sometimes the inertia and urge to get things done, the guys out in the field, leads to a misstep for the front office. So I and the staff negotiated a payment for the extra base material later in the summer. But I explained to them that the final decision would have to be made by council, and the cost to make us whole with the work they actually did, even though it was without a change order, would be $50,916.97. again, we have a good relationship with them. These mistakes are rare, but they do happen, often out of over exuberance, I would say, by the folks in the field that already have everything all set up and they want to get it done. Everything's cooking. So I can understand the mistake, and I think it's a reasonable course of action. But
We have that money, Adam?
defer to council.
It's you pulled out of contingency, so it's not budgeted. Obviously, be out of contingency.
Yeah, because most of the project was done with ARPA funds.
That's correct.
And we expended our last ARPA funds on that project.
Question.
I'd like to hear from Daryl on this.
And you can disagree with me if I got anything wrong.
No, you got everything right. So the deep base was only supposed to happen at Old Posting Bay Boulevard, which we spoke about, which was on it. But when they were milling, they started at the other intersection, the most eastern intersection. And when they were milling it, I guess they noticed they had to go deeper. Well, by the time I got out there, it was already paved, and that's when they said that they had to go deeper. I was like, well, you can't just if you know you have to go, you start at the other side of the project while we work on this side of the project to see what we needed to come to. So they kind of just did it on their own.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to bring up too. Is that in this case there was, they kind of just went ahead and did it, assuming that they'd come back and it'd be taken care of. This is negotiated down from what the original thought was, because I think it was like another almost $100,000 or something.
It was over 100,000.
It was over 100,000 that the work did, which is crazy because the entire project. Well, yeah, so you're talking a significant increase in the budget, and that was the very first thing they did.
Aren't they supposed to come out? I mean, I was talking to Joe just to understand. These contractors come in, they bid, and then they're like, "Oh, my God, we didn't understand." Well, hold on, weren't you supposed to come out and assess the situation before you came out and gave us an estimate? I'm glad this isn't $100,000 ask, and it was negotiated down to $22,000. Am I correct on that?
50,000.
Oh, 50 was owed.
50,916.
No, 28 was owed, and the retaining balance was 22. So the new ask was 28. So it was literally a 33% discount or more, maybe a 35% discount. We take 35% of what their ask was.
They did their preliminary cores, what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So that's how they determine where the deep base, and it wasn't part of that during their initial. So, and they didn't notice it.
They missed it. I mean, I guess the question comes in here with a company like Ajax. A, are we going to use them again? Right. B, they're a pretty big paver in the area, right? So, I mean, they missed it. They've given us a huge discount. We should consider paying them that difference, even though it wasn't talked about. But these bidders need to understand. Hey, when you come in, you can't just go saying, "Hey, the city's going to pay us an extra $30,000."
I want to say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but also it's been a while, but I thought that they had agreed to eat that, and now all of a sudden it's come back to us. But
They ate quite a bit, and the finance part of the office kept asking, if this was going to be brought before council, and or it was going to be paid. And I explained to them, I says, to go forward with this, it has to go before council. I says, we do not authorize, this at all. So I told them that, that we will bring this in front of them for discussion, but they have, council has final say on it. There was no promise made to them. The city manager made no promise. Staff made no promise. The retainage part of the bill is part of the billing process, and that's set aside. So it's more or less the $28,607.40 that we're talking about, which was dropped down considerable because we started the numbers, in the middle six figures, So it's a push come to shove. This is pretty much just for the material. I believe the actual amount was approximately 30 tons of extra base material, if I'm correct.
Yeah, something like that.
I'd have to get the exact figure, but it was in that realm. So, but we made no promises to them that this was going to either pass or not. But to clarify the vice mayor's comments, Ajax does have contracts with Pasco County. We have piggybacked with them in the past. We will more than likely piggyback with them in the future. They are one of the major paving companies in the state. So more than likely we will be using them again.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little disappointed in the linings, the lining of the road and stuff, and there's some other issues or whatever. But
There was another question I have for Daryl. Daryl, did they settle all the issues you had? Did they
Yeah,
address
so-
and settle the problem? You said, hey, I don't like this, I don't like that. They fixed it, or they gave you a reason why?
So if you notice the part where Bay and Old Post, some of them driveways stick way out farther than what they should. So that's what makes the white line look like that. Because they're not just going to mill over somebody's
Why would they
driveway.
just make the line straight even though the asphalt follows their driveway? You don't follow.
Well, they can't. They can't thermo somebody's private driveway.
No,
And
no,
is that-
no, no. Instead of, why didn't they just make the line straight? Instead of like my driveway's here or there, what they started doing this thing around it.
I guess it's more or less. Do you want the line to? Because the way the line's gonna, because they only have that couple driveways that where it pops out.
Oh,
in order to make it straight, you're gonna have to make the whole line.
I got you. Okay.
That far over.
I mean,
should those people have to put their driveways that far in the road? That's
in a perfect
another
world.
discussion.
some of the issues where the lanes are wider on one side than they are on the other. And if you drive down them, there you can see that where they did the initial lines, they came back with the permanent lines. It's a big blur in some areas. I mean, it's a really shoddy job as far as the lining is concerned, because it's off center in several places, and some places almost a foot, I think we measured. So I got a little heartburn with that end product, and then to come back on a mistake that they kind of did with the hopes that it would be remedied, especially that magnitude. I had some heartburn with this, but I do. I hate to. I don't know.
But they swear the road is centered, so.
I mean, I drive it every day. Other than those little reflectors they put on there, which I can't stand.
Yeah, well, it's because the lanes on one side it's so narrow you got to drive over. So it's.
It should have been moved in a little closer.
I wouldn't hesitate in using these guys in the future. Obviously, but this is a bitter pill to swallow, and especially with the product. If the product would come out pristine, I'd probably be more apt to go ahead and cover this. But
Can we motion to lower the amount?
we could do that. Again, this is what they're asking us, so we could agree to a lower amount, and we could have staff go back and negotiate further, or just all out just deny it or pay it.
Motion to renegotiate.
Okay.
On a job of this magnitude.
Is there a second before I? Okay, that motion dies. Go ahead, Chris.
On a job of this magnitude, this is like 5%, right? 5% overage. They used the material. Didn't they use the material? They used the material.
Yeah.
In a professional environment, that's where we are. I think we pay them the money. I think that reputation is more important to us in the future versus us taking a $28,000 shot at them. They've already like Sal testified, they brought it from 100 something down to 28. So and that leaves us at a place right now where they're like, hey, we made a mistake, but if you do this, we're cool. But if you don't, then you might be cutting off your nose to spite your face. Right?
And the reality too is this is material cost basically. It's been reduced pretty much to the material cost. Sal, is that correct?
Yes.
And so, to your point, I think that's a good, sensible reason to pay it. The reality is had they had stopped and told us that, hey, we've got to do this deeper,
We probably would have paid $100,000 to finish it.
we probably would have paid more. So you can look at this as, because the way it happens, we're actually probably getting a good deal. So
You want me to make a motion?
make it, please.
Motion to accept here, hold on, slow down. Right here. Motion to
Whatever it is, she's ready.
Motion to approve the $50,916.97 in invoices from Ajax Paving Industries for the additional base material, labor, and retainage for the Bay Boulevard paving project.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Devin, welcome.
Devin Aaron, 5414 Bay Boulevard. Ajax is they might even be a $1 billion company. They know what they're doing. They did a crappy job for us. The lines suck. I know Daryl's got to like deal with that. You know what I mean? In some of the areas, and we look at him, and he looks at them, and Sal talks to him, and and Adam's like, I don't want to deal with this. Don't pay it. We shouldn't pay that. We shouldn't pay that. We shouldn't pay it. Period. In a story. And they'll bill it to us on the next time when we get other grant money or whatever. But we're taking money out of our contingency, paying for their mess ups, and it's not for us to foot the bill on that. What happened with Signature, that was a whole different thing. They had to build a seawall, they had ADA compliance stuff, all this other stuff that they actually did for the city, and that was a good thing. That was something different. This is them not doing their job because they probably got idiots working for them, is what it is. The people that shouldn't be working for them, and that's a wrap. So I don't think.
The reality is, if they had stopped working,
Yep.
and said, "Hey, boys, stop the trucks, bring it back to base," they would have been in the middle of all the people down there couldn't get through, and they would have said, "Hey, we need another $108,000 worth of asphalt." It didn't work that way. It worked in our favor. They just did it and figured they'd come beg for mercy later, and that's what they're doing. Mercy cost them $70-some thousand.
There ain't no.
It doesn't matter whether they're billionaires or not.
It's not time for back four. So
That's yeah.
take your time.
So agreed. Agreed. But they're such a big company that they should be handling this in a more professional manner. Period. End of story. And it's not for little Port Richey to foot the bill on that. You know what I mean? And as far as they could have stopped what they were doing, went to the other side. Like Daryl said, you know what I mean? There's other ways to go about doing this. I'm not an asphalt guy, but, I'm not an idiot either. It's, they mill it and they repave it. And there are other asphalt companies, and that was one of our bigger roads. And we might want to look at littler companies that might be a little cheaper for our smaller roads. So I would say don't pay it. And if they want to go after it, let them go after it. But that was their mess up, and they need to eat that. And that goes on their bottom line. It has nothing to do with us. We didn't misbid it or anything like that, and we didn't get anything better, as a product for what they did. They said they were going to do it, and they did it, and it didn't really turn out that great in some areas. I'm on that street. I mean, I got trailers and stuff. I'm like it's so weird trailering on that road now. It's terrible, because the lines really did shift over, and I get people's driveways and stuff are goofy, but I wasn't happy with that job. And they did, I think, the other road over, we had it done a couple years ago by Walmart or whatever, and the lines are like somebody was drunk, and it's not acceptable. It's asphalt paving. It's easy, and they got technology now. Anyways, thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Anyway, right on time. Okay, seeing that, I'll bring back for council. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next up is item number 10, lift station generator installation, bid approval, Santa Fe Power Solutions. I'll pass it to Mr. Butterfield for introduction.
Thanks, Mayor. I think it was this spring before I got here, the county emergency management folks let us know there was hazard mitigation grant program funding available, to which we applied for 4 of our generators that were really challenged during the storms right there. So we got accepted. We will be paid back 75% of the cost. So Daryl's got the 4 sites identified. They're in the write-up, and it's a really good $1 for every 3 that we get as a part of the grant. So again, similar to the process described earlier on an earlier project, our staff gets together and rates proposals. I remember the room when that bid process went on, and there were a lot of people that applied, and our staff came up with Santa Fe Power Solutions as the best company to get the job done for us for the right price. So again, I can start bringing forward multiple everybody that applied if the staff, if the council in the future wants to see that. But in this case, Santa Fe was selected, and Sal and Daryl, if you've got anything to add.
In this case, Santa Fe was the lowest bid because it's basically just going out to install the generators. So that's why we're presenting them to you. And it's the only one on there because it's the lowest bid.
Okay.
They're providing generators?
Yes, they
And
provide,
installing them?
install, everything like that.
Are these covered or protected, or how, what do they do? Just sit on the ground next to the lift station? I'm trying to understand.
So what they'll be is you'll have the fuel cell underneath, probably about 500-gallon fuel cell, then the generator will sit on top of it.
So it'd be higher than flood stuff? Okay.
And then they're protected, they're powder coated and everything.
And we start them up and run them every once in a while and all that stuff. The fuel cell is like diesel or gas?
Diesel.
So what is the life expectancy on that diesel?
Usually you run them and then you run them once a week, usually like Wednesday or something for about an hour. And then they just run and then you just fill them up like.
So you're burning that fuel, this fuel gets
Yeah.
used. It doesn't sit in there and go bad.
No, it'll get used. That's why you have to run and test them and do your weekly.
Weekly
run on them.
test?
Yeah, like we do here. We do them here for this generator and that generator.
Every
For
week?
an hour. Yep, every week.
Okay.
This one I think is Fridays, right? Or was Fridays?
It was Fridays, I believe it's like Tuesday, Wednesday now.
Yeah, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
or something like that, right? Or it was 10 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, they run every week. We got to keep them fueled. They fuel them up with off-road, so you're not paying the extra taxes.
And in the event of emergency, we have the ability to pump stuff, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Bay, our four main ones, Bay, Queener, Chapel, and Oldsmith.
So in the event of a complete power outage, do you have any loss of sewage pumping anywhere in the city, or do we have generators to back it all up?
So we have 2 portable generators plus the bypass pump now. So if any of those go out, that's outside of those 4, we'll just hook them up. Or we got the Vectors.
Oh, you can back them out. I gotcha.
We can back them out and dump them at one of these 4 stations that are still alive.
I
So we're not completely out. That's like I said, that's what saved us for Helene was Bay Boulevard not.
So there will never be a time, or should never be a time, where your toilet won't flush, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I thought of you when I was on vacation down in the Keys. I saw some lift stations that were elevated and had the stairs going up to them, and some had those generators on them down there. Quite a few.
Were they the aluminum stairs with the little?
Some were galvanized. Most of them were aluminum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they went up there probably like 8 feet up in the air. Yeah.
That's about how high we're looking to lift ours when we do it.
Very cool stuff.
As one of our state projects, we're working on that as well.
Yep.
We'll be bringing that to council soon.
I took some pictures for you.
We ready for motions?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
Motion to approve Santa Fe Power Solutions to install the lift station generators as per the hazard mitigation grant program.
I'll second.
Have a motion second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing none, put to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is item number 11, interim city manager discussion / contract. I guess I'll pass that to Mr. Butterfield for a quick introduction.
Okay, the original contract that the council signed me to expires, I guess, Thanksgiving Day. And there's a gap between the expected arrival of Mr. King, January 5th. So the mayor had drafted this and proposed extending the original contract through for 28 November through 4 January.
Okay. And so obviously I've got updates on Don King's contract, which I'll jump into here after we take care of the interim city manager. Obviously that contract with Don would begin on January 5th. Yeah, January 5th, which is the Monday. And so we obviously need city manager services up to that point. And so what we need to do is extend Andy, or propose to extend Andy basically the same structure he has, with one change. And I'm going to give you a little information that we found out why with this change here. So with regards to FRS, the Floor Retirement System, when we originally acted on his contract, it was our understanding, based on information that finance received, is that we are able to lower the FRS participation for and the city manager is senior manager service class. It's a 33.24% requirement of the city to put in. And so we were understanding that we could lower that down to the regular class rate, which is 14.03%. And so that's the assumption we've been operating under. And we've been putting in that 14.03% every month of this contract for the last 5 months. What we found out in negotiations with Don is that that actually information was incorrect. And I will say that, it's really not a fault of the finance director. He made several phone calls. I'd asked several times to get some clarification. He attempted to do that. There was a issue, I guess, on the site that gave the employer number. And when we call it an employer number, that would get routed over to the employee number, and there'd be set long hour and a half waits to get to somebody. And the folks on the phone would basically say the same thing. You can lower it, and you can't opt out of FRS altogether. And so I reached out to, obviously it was just going back and forth, and it just didn't make any sense. So I reached out to Mike Moore as well as Brad Yeager to see if I could get some kind of contact with FRS. Mike was able to get us in touch with a lady there, and we had a phone conversation and found out that the information we had was actually the reverse. You can opt out if you've never retired from the FRS system, but you cannot lower the rate for the city manager, because the city manager it's compulsory to be at the city manager or senior manager service class. And so that was a $15,000 phone call, basically to go back and do the 20% difference. And so what happens in that is when the city goes out and corrects that, Andy's going to he gets an 8.3% match based on what we were paying at a regular class. He'll get an additional 1.37% match in there, which obviously was outside the scope of our contract. So we'd get an extra 1.37% for those months leading up to that. To mitigate the city's cost, Andy has agreed to opt out for this last month of his contract and any subsequent portion that we give him, so that we aren't on the hook for that 33.24%. In return, we'll make him whole by giving him the match that he would have gotten. And so if you take the 5 months at the additional 1.37%, I think I have that somewhere. It's at 6 points, so that would equal 6.85%. The match for the final month of his contract in November would be 8.3, so a difference of 1.45%, which would leave us owing him $190.92 of a match. So that being said, that kind of gives you some framework around the retirement portion. And what you'll see in his agreement here is that he is agreeing to opt out of the retirement system. And what we're going to do is we're going to pay his salary as we have been paying it, except we're not going to have any FRS obligation. We're just going to kick in an additional 8.3%, which is what would went to his retirement fund. So we basically would add on 8.3% in lieu of the match. Any questions on that? Okay, so, and I will say too, by Andy doing this, the city makeup FRS would have been about to the tune of $15,175.90. We're able to mitigate that for the last month, was all we could do. We've asked to see if there's some way we can retroactive at the beginning. It's probably statutory not possible. I made it clear that we've had bad information. They're looking into that, but I think there's no way around that. So we are able to mitigate that and save $3,000 some odd by him opting out for the last month. So we're taking that 15, about 12.
He's being compensated as he should be.
From his perspective, it's the same. Instead of him having the money in one bank account, it's going to be in another. And so the only technical difference is when we pay him that money in lieu of the match, it doesn't really affect too much for this last month of his contract here in November, because it's only $190, but that's taxable income to him. So he'll have withholdings and stuff on it. In the extension that we propose, obviously that 8.3 would be taxed at the regular rate. So it's not tax deferred match like it would be going into the FRS. That's really the only difference. So, and obviously the tax situation that he has may or may not have an issue with that anyway. So if you've had a chance to review that, is there any questions on the extension? Really the exact same terms that we have now. It's going to extend it out to January 4th, midnight January 4th, and then Don, which we'll talk about in a minute, will pick up midnight on the 5th.
So there's not going to be an overlap.
There'd be no overlap at all. Well, that's a whole other story. So let me get to that.
Let's just do this one first.
So so the reason we need to extend this instead of talking another structure, which I'll talk about in a minute, is because we have to have a city manager in place. The city manager is not a 1099 employee. And so obviously the IRS is very particular about allowing you to 1099 certain employees. So it's basically would be trying to dance around IRS rules. And so we need to extend him the way he is because it's going to cost more. We got to pay FICA Medicare just like we would any other employee because it's an employee type position. So this extension of contract would just take him from where he's at in the 27th, I believe. It's November
27th
Yeah,
November.
to extend him to the 4th, and then we're going to talk about beyond that after this.
Okay, so I'm good with going forward with it as it is.
Okay, so I need a motion to accept the extension as provided.
Motion to accept suspension as provided.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Seeing I put it vote, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, staying in the same topic, and I'm going to skip to Don for now before we come back. So I think it's good to have the entire picture of that transition. So I have an agreement with Don. It's been passed back and forth several times. We've had good discussions, and I'm happy to report that we have a contract that's win-win for the residents of City of Port Richey as well as Don. And I'm going to show you some numbers to kind of to drive that home. Obviously, Don is flexible because he's retired military, and so he does not need FRS, and so he's agreed to opt out. And he also does not need our health care plan, so he's not taking that, and so that provides us some flexibility. So what I'd like to do is kind of go through the contract and then I'll entertain your questions as we go through that.
Can I, before you go in?
Sure, absolutely.
So he's opted out of those two things. Did he want something in return for opting out?
Yeah, so there's, and I'm going to go over what kind of those things are in lieu of. Okay. So if you step through the agreement, and I can pull it up on a screen. So this wasn't in the packet because we got the language worked out before or after the stuff was done. So if I could share my screen here, and actually council has a copy in front of you. Okay, I might be able to make that a hair bigger. Let's see. Okay. So the starting point of this contract was basically the same contract that we used for Matt Koppler, to have all the special language and stuff in there. So really, I'm going to cover the kind of the details. If you guys want to talk about anything else within there, feel free. But as we go down, obviously, all this is kind of boilerplate. Starting on the 5th of January, and it'd go for 3 years. And you need to provide a 6 months written notice to him if we decide we're not going to renew that.
6 months from us?
For 6 months from the time the 3 year when the contract ends, we have to, if we're not going to continue with him, we need to give him that 6 months notice. If we are going to continue, obviously there's a whole negotiation involved, right? Obviously there's things about paying leave and all that, again, all board flip. This severance is the next thing I want to cover. And so statute allows up to 20 weeks of severance pay. And in the past, it's not been structured in any way at all. It's just, if you're terminated without cause, meaning that we just decide we don't want to employ him anymore, they'd be entitled to 20 weeks of severance. Obviously, I had issue with just having that out there. Let's say we make a bad hire, and we had high expectations, but he didn't do anything wrong, but we have to let him go because he's not doing a good job or whatever. I don't like the city having to pay 6 months salary to send him out the door. It's very expensive. And so what I did into the contract is put a tiering system in there. And if you go down to page 3 of the contract, at the top, you'll see, so for the first 6 months, that's considered a probationary period, and there's no qualification for severance. So there's no reason to pay severance. If within 6 months we decide to terminate without cause, no severance is needed. Once you reach beyond the 6 months up to a year, we'll pay 25% of that 20 weeks. For another 6 months, if it goes to a year and a half, we'll pay 50%. Up to 2 years, we'll pay 75%. And after 2 years, we'll pay the full 20% if we terminate without cause. Severance is if he's terminated for cause, doesn't matter how long he's been here, there's no severance. And if he leaves of his own volition, he decides he takes another job, whatever, there's no severance. So really the only time that severance comes into play is if we make a decision as a council to terminate him without cause. And then it would apply this structured reimbursement. So that's any questions on the severance? Okay. Actually, that goes through and talks about what things are terminal cause to termination. Then moving down to compensation. We settled on a base salary of $150,000 per year. Obviously the benefits that I talked about that he was waiving allowed us to be a little more generous on the salary. And when I structured the agreement, the salary is the driving factor from any increases, which we built into the same cost of living that we plan for staff. That's eligible city manager. So if we plan 3%, he gets 3%. Again, that doesn't go towards any of the allowances. That's strictly just the salary. So the 150 is the one that can possibly move over the course of the term. There's a housing allowance that will pay $1,650 a month to help defray costs of maintaining a residence within the incorporated boundaries of the city of Port Richey or other location approved by city council.
Forever.
And I know this sounds like a lot, but I'm going to, after you see how this kind of comes out in its total outlay to the city, I think you agree this is a really good thing. So $1,650, and this helps maintain the house in the city. He has to live in the city or somewhere else that we agree to. And by charter states that we have to agree to him live anywhere outside the city. He has a year to do that. So the housing allowance will start immediately, and it'll go for a year. Within that year, if he does not have an agreement with council to do to where he's living or that, he owes all this money back. Okay, but once he complies with that, it continues. So it's an add-on to salary, and it's really in lieu of his health benefits and the FRS, which I'll show you those numbers shortly. So that's the housing allowance. Any questions on that? Moving on to the personal automobile allowance. We're going to give him $600 monthly for the use of his vehicle. He's to use his vehicle for city business.
How did you come up with that number?
So again, these numbers in lieu of payment. And so I tried to structure it in a way that made sense. If we go back to John Dude, he had a $300 car allowance. Give it a little more, obviously times transpired or whatever. But I wanted to put some hooks to that, which I did. And so basically he's to use his personal automobile. He gets the $600. But if he needs to go to a meeting at the Board of County Commissioners over on Little Road, he can't submit for the 70 cents a mile IRS. There's a 35-mile radius geofence around City Hall. Any travel within that 35-mile geofence, if you just picture a circle around City Hall, 35-mile radius all the way around, that's on him. And that's kind of what that $600 is to pay for, is for those travel expenses. If he does have to go outside, so let's say he has a conference he goes to in Orlando. Once he breaches the geofence at 35 miles, from the point where that intersects on the road, that's where his IRS reimbursement at 70 cents a mile or whatever the current rate is, he can put an expense into to the finance director to get that reimbursed. Once he returns back, once he breaches the geofence coming back in, that mileage stops. So we're only going to be responsible for any mileage outside the 35-mile geofence. Any questions on that?
Well, was that yours or his?
This was mine. Again, he was when in the discussions, it was all about what he's going to get out of pocket. Whether we call it a payment in lieu of health benefits or whatever. I structured it in a way that it's the taxpayers understand that, we're required to live in a city or very close to it. We're going to help with that because we don't have to pay retirement. So we're going to help have a residence here, and it serves both purposes. Same thing on the automobile allowance. He's not driving around a city vehicle, using it, doesn't need a city vehicle. He uses his own personal auto. We're going to reimburse that $600 a month. Again, that's money instead of his health benefits and all that. This is kind of where we're making that up. The total of those two, the $1,650 and $600, is
$27,000.
Yeah, 20. Let's see. I thought I had this.
Is that normal to give that much housing for a city manager position?
So
what does Newport Richey do?
So again, you need to look at this.
No, I just want to know if it's normal. I don't.
I don't know if it's normal or not. To be honest with you, we haven't done it in the past. I don't know ever. I don't think ever we have had a car allowance.
And I don't think we've ever paid that high of a salary.
Was there a pension?
So that's a pretty high salary plus throwing in a housing allowance, which we've never done before.
Okay. Let me jump to this so you understand. So what the city's concerned with at the end of the day is what's our outlay for the salary. Okay. There's benefits, all these things. So if you look at my screen here, you'll see John Duke, our all-in, and I've adjusted this based on the current FRS rate. If you look, it actually was a little higher. Senior manager was 34.52% when John and Matt were here. And you also see the benefits at $11,000 is what they paid for what we paid for benefits on their behalf. But I adjusted these numbers based on the current FRS, which is 33.24, as well as the current benefits, which is 13,656. So if you look at the all-in, which is this total outlay here, John Duke was costing the city $191,906.02 based on today's numbers. Matt Copper would be at $197,5660. With this agreement, we're paying Don King $197.84. Not paying him, but what our cost is to him with everything is $190,000. So you can look at these individual benefits and that in the contract, but what the end numbers is showing is we're actually paying Don King out the door from a city perspective less than we paid John Duke, and that's been a long time. And so this is a really good deal. It's the housing allowance as a car allowance is just a way for us to manage a portion of that. And I will say too, in my original offer, I didn't have those, but I had a bonus structure. And I had it targeted at a 20% bonus target and gave council the ability to, based on metrics, put something in. Don didn't like the bonus structure. And so instead, we decided on the housing and car allowance, and I structured it in a way that made sense. Again, $1,650, it's going to cost probably more than that to have a house here. $600, it's probably realistically what he's going to spend in travel with gas and upkeeping that using his own personal vehicle. Again, there's really no difference in saying it because all that's $177,000 benefit to him between the salary of $150 and the $27,000 of the car and house. $177,000. I could have put it all in salary, but then that increases every year with cost of living. That way, the $27,000 is not increasing. It's only based on the $150. One thing I want to point out for salary, if you look at these salary.com statistics here, the 90th percentile for salary in Florida, city manager is $126,344. With salary bonus, you're at $164,12. So the salaries in the high end. Debbie Manns makes about $158,000, I think, in salary alone. She's been there 11 years. City 6 times our size. I don't want to bring him in at $177 salary because that's higher than Debbie's making. I mean, we're kind of doing that, but there's hooks to these housing allowance, car allowance. Zephyr Hills, 7 times our size. Again, about $157, I think Billy Poe makes. Now they have some other things. They're in FRS. If you look at the FR, based on these numbers in red here, you'll see the city is saving almost $50,000 in FRS contributions, of which, if we were doing that, he would get 9.67%, but the 23.57% is just throwing at FRS. So I structured it to maximize what money he's getting, make it worthwhile for him. But at the end of the day, we're saving more money than we had with our previous 2 city managers, including Andy. Andy out the door right now for the year is $192,498. So we're getting Don cheaper than we've ever had anybody.
I think if Don's good, I think this is a good agreement. Like you've done a good job working through this. I have reviewed this. I used to be a contract manager when I was working, and I reviewed it and I made some clarifications and just some revisions of some like little typos type things. And I prepared a like notes for you.
Okay.
Nothing that we need to go through here, just something for you to consider, maybe with our attorney, just to clarify some things, and then of course correct those typos. And that's
Well, we'll cover those. Actually, let me finish the rest of it, and then let's talk through each one of those. Obviously, Nancy has reviewed this
you want to
contract.
go through each one.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because
Oh my
so
goodness.
what comes of this is what I'd like to do is once if we need to make any changes,
Why don't I look at what she's
While you're- yeah,
while you guys
sure.
are talking? Because if
Yeah.
it's just typing things, I can. Okay, yeah.
Copies of the changes.
yeah, and like I said, anything of substance, I'd like to go through those.
Sure. Yeah,
too.
I mean, it's just all for consideration. There's
Yeah.
nothing, some of it could stay or go.
Okay.
Just depends
Just a
on.
little quick question. Didn't
Sure.
was it mentioned that we do have a staff car? I know his car is probably a lot more comfortable, but was that mentioned? No, we bought a car for staff.
Well, the staff has a car. It's not the city manager car, if you will, but and there is access to car. And so if he was to go to Orlando or somewhere farther away, I guess he's supposed to use his car, but we'll be paying those mileage on top of that. So
Okay.
The next item is discretionary incentive pay. So when I originally had it together, I had a target in there. And so we reversed that and went to these other housing and car allowance. But I did leave this in here. And the reason I left it in here is because if it's in here, we as a council have the ability to incentivize him. And so my thought is, if we get somebody in here and we want to reward them, this is a way to reward them. And we could negotiate a incentive pay package that we would pay once a year based on a certain criteria. And all this basically says, doesn't guarantee it will ever be done. But if we so choose, we can put something in place that we can put a 5% or 10% annual bonus that if you meet certain targets or whatever that we're able to compensate him for or not. So it's really just in there to give us the flexibility to do it if we want to. If it's not there, we can't do it. Okay. Vacation and sick time. There was a small concession here. The original contract with Matt was 20 days, which is obviously a lot. It's kind of standard now especially for executives coming in. He wanted an additional 4 days. His reasoning for that additional 4 days is that he said that when I'm working, I'm going to be the first one in, going to be the last one out. You're going to be getting way more hours out of me than you're paying for. And for that, I just like to have an extra few days. So when I can take some time off, decompress, he has that ability. And again, that's I don't think that's unreasonable of a person with that much responsibility. He needs to have some time. And again, it's at the end of the day, it's actually saving the city money. For the last couple of city managers, I didn't see a problem with that. So that's in there for that. All the accruals and that's the same as regular staff. Benefits, you'll see here, the life insurance, which is $111, and the short-term disability is $132. He's eligible for those, just like the rest of the staff. Oops. Health and dental, you'll see that he agrees to waive all that. If he does want to participate in the plan at a later date, he can do so at his own payroll deduction. We're not paying him we're not paying the $13,000 for that, so we save that. Disability insurance, I mentioned that. The full retirement system, he's agreed to opt out. And of course, once we execute this contract, he'll simultaneously execute his opt-out form that he can send in. So we want to make any contributions on his behalf to the full retirement system. Again, save about $50,000 a year based on the package. Relocation. Once he relocates to inside the city or somewhere else we approve, we'll give him $5,000, up to $5,000. It's not a $5,000 blank check. He submits receipts on what it costs to move his property here, and I put in here reimbursement request will be paid by the city upon submission to the city manager of receipts confirming his payment of such expenses to finance director, and for those expenses approved prior to their execution by city council. So he's not just going to come in and say, "Here, did this." I want you to put a plan for it. Say, "Here's what I'm doing. Here's what's going to cost," and then we approve it. And then we, once those receipts come in and shows he paid it, we'll reimburse up to $5,000. Obviously, cell phone, laptop will provide that. Bonding, all this stuff, kind of boilerplate. Any other benefits out there that's not specifically in this agreement that staff gets, he's also eligible for those. There'll be a performance appraisal every year. We have the ability to discuss salary every year when we have that, so we can actually discuss leaving the salary the same or increasing it, even before the contract extends. We can take consideration. Again, if we don't want to do that, we could do a bonus structure if we decide there's room for improvement. If we get a guy in here that's going to do a great job, we want to make sure that we keep rewarding him so we don't have him leave. And so the ability is there to do that. They're dedicated totally to us. No other business activities are allowed without council approval. I think that's pretty much all of the details. So again, I'm going to summarize. It's a total of $177,000 a year to him. Sounds like a lot of money, but to the city, it's less money than we've paid before. It's a really good agreement for the residents. Really good agreement for Don. Appreciate his flexibility. We had several discussions going back and forth on different things. I held pretty fast. I wanted to stay in that 190 range of the outlay of city so that we're not increasing the cost of taxpayers, but we're getting a good, solid city manager candidate. We did save $30,000 by not having to go hire a firm.
Thank you for negotiating that.
Yep, and all in, I'll just run that out so you know we budgeted $238,000 all in. The new city manager coming in January, running out, going to put it about $143,88. And then we're going to talk about Andy soon, but just a little preview of that. Added both together, Andy, and these numbers, I'm extending him to the end of February, January, February 1099 agreement, which we'll talk about, and the totals $219,948 under our budget. The little $10,000 hiccup with FRS is in there. Now, that's from the prior year. So we're going to show when he goes back and fixes this that the prior year budget is going to be over. But that number, if you was apply it to today's budget, that brings us to 230, and that includes the additional couple thousand in October, November timeframe. So we're actually, with both those scenarios, we're actually $8,500 under budget for this year. And again, going forward, we're well under what we were budgeting for the prior several years with the other city mayors. So, work really hard on this, and I hope you all can see the value and where we're at, and I think the taxpayers can do it as well. I think it's a good agreement.
I'd like to make a motion.
Good.
I'm going to make a motion to extend the meeting until 9:30.
Oh, good catch. There a second?
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Don.
I got something to say.
Sorry, Chief.
Sure.
Fantastic job, Eric. Really, I mean
Thank
that. You worked hard on this. You worked on behalf of the city. You didn't get stumped when on some of the situations it appeared that he was coming back at John, and you just worked through the details. You did a fantastic job, and that's me telling you how I feel about it. So
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I agree.
Thank you.
And as far as, I don't feel the need to go through mine, but they were just little comments, little suggestions for clarification. They are not regarding terms and no term changes or anything. So they're just like little nuances that I believe the city attorney is highly qualified to look at and determine whether or not we want to put that in the contract. And then the rest were just some like little typos and a number change.
The typos I found and have noted.
Yeah.
Those are taken care of. The others, I mean, you've negotiated this. I don't think it substantially changes anything. We can be able to take time to look at this with what you have and talk to Don. He may feel like it changes something somewhere. I'm glancing at it quickly. I don't think it does, but obviously it's also 9 o'clock and it's doing it
It's
quickly.
just like they're just nuances. It's not
some
nothing-
clarifications,
Right,
some more
yeah.
explanation. So it's probably not going to make any substantive changes, but I would suggest that perhaps you look at that.
Yeah, sure.
And talk to him and
Yeah, so just for you
we'll
to,
make any
you know,
edits
just
you want
something, it's nothing discussion worthy, I
There are
swear.
copies
I
for all of you
swear.
if you want to look
It's
at
just,
I mean, if that contract, if Don's the right guy, that contract's not going to matter. You know what I'm saying? If he's the
Right.
wrong guy, it's not going
Right.
to save us either. You
Sure.
get my point?
Right.
So, yeah.
So, if you guys are good with this, and so how should we do this if we want to incorporate any of this?
I would, they're good,
We have some time.
Yeah.
We got next meeting
Right.
that we can
That's what I
iron
was
this
going to
out.
suggest. They're good with this. I would say thank you and be done with
Yeah.
this for tonight. You look at this. we'll talk about it, talk to Don if you know. And
You can throw it away for all it matters. I mean, it's nothing substantive.
And then
It's just
as an agenda item for February, oh my goodness, for December 9th, put it on the agenda, bring back whatever the final thing is.
I think you did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. Thank you.
So I'm just concerned about working with Andy before he leaves.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that next.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so by consensus, just so we know, as far as
I got some point of question here. Why are we waiting? Why are we not locking this thing down?
I'm not, you can do whatever you want. One of your
I make a
council
motion, we
persons-
accept the contract the way it's written and move forward with the contract with him, and we don't put
That is
this
your-
off for another meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
Well, and it's not an
With the
agenda item.
typos, correct.
It's not, you don't have to have it as an agenda item, but I will also say it's not an agenda item to solidify this tonight. It's a discussion item, kind of that got brought up, I'm just saying. So you can amend the agenda, you can make it an agenda item, it's discussion.
So
one of your council persons requested that the mayor look at this.
She says it's not stuff that's
I'm
important.
just-
Right.
You looked at me and
Point
asked the
of
question.
clarification, I mean, that's,
What?
and now we're splicing hairs over a contract for the guy, we've written the contract, he's accepted it, you've written it, we've accepted, and Nancy looked at it, she was okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
So I
Except the
think
two
we move
typos
forward,
in it.
I don't know why we're waiting at all.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying if one of your fellow council persons has
I'm
brought
saying
something
it's-
ahead.
Nothing is in relation to the terms or anything. There are just some nuances that, like I prepared the
So you'd
contract.
be fine to withdraw that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Minus the typos. I think
Yeah,
the
the
typos
typos
should
will
be.
fix.
well, let me ask you this:
I noted those.
Are we able to? Probably needs to be an agenda item.
I would make it an agenda item.
Yeah.
For the final.
We can make an agenda item right now.
Technically, we could, but the public has not had time to. So nobody's consumed this information other than, I mean, if they're watching the meeting. So what I would suggest, we have time. He wouldn't start till the 5th of January. We agreed to extend Andy through the 4th of January. So we got one more meeting, December 9th. What I would suggest is, if everybody's good with the terms, that's important information for Don to know, that because obviously I can't speak for the council. I have to have you guys agree. So it sounds like, and I asked for consensus that we all agree that everybody's good with this. I can take a look at this, and if I see anything that I think is important, Nancy, prick some errors or whatever, and we can bring that final contract, and I'll run it by Don. So Don's not necessarily probably concerned about any of these things. Again, without looking at them, I don't know. But if I see anything that he would need to look at, he's going to see it. We solidify that, bring it back to the next council meeting to formally approve it. He signs it. We're done. Like I said, we can technically do it tonight, but there's no need to rush. And that way we do allow the public to take a look at this, read it themselves, and they can show up on the night and have comment about it as well. I think that's important. So
We're in charge of it.
So is there any objections to the contract as written and
No.
going forward, move it to agenda item on the 9th?
No, I think we moved them. Do what you said. That's fine.
Okay. You go with that?
I don't see what we're waiting for.
I don't either.
I mean, seriously, hold on. We've been empowered by the people to hire a city manager. You've done that. If you've got that contract in front of you, he's agreed to it. We've agreed to it. What are we waiting for?
It's not a matter if we need to. It's just why do we need to have it
It's not
solidified
a rush.
tonight?
It's not a rush.
2 weeks
It's
from
getting
now.
the job done.
Right, I agree, and we'll do that in 2 weeks. I mean, I'm okay if you want to make a motion to.
I did. I already made
okay.
the motion.
A motion to accept the
I
contract
make a
as
motion
is.
to accept the contract as is and have him sign it. Let's get on down the road.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Okay. Seeing none, let's do a roll call vote. Just because it's late, do something different.
Councilwoman Sullivan, what is your vote?
Yay.
Councilwoman Burke, your vote?
Yay.
Councilman Hubbard, your vote?
Yay.
Vice Mayor, your vote?
Yay.
Mayor Hoover, your vote?
I'm a nay, just because I think there's no reason to rush it. We could have, but obviously that's fine. Motion
That's a
carries.
motion carries, right?
Motion carries. It's just a funny vote of mine, but motion carries. Okay, next up is
Yahoo.
Andy.
Yeah.
That's all that's left.
yeah. I'm gonna change my vote. Have close. Just
I'm
make
gonna
it
allow
yay.
you to change your vote.
Just make it yay. It's being stupid. Just can I do that?
I'm gonna say yeah.
I assume you can. I've never had anyone do it.
Wow.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
go ahead,
the
change your
ultimate vote. But
Yeah.
if you don't want it to be seen that you
I
said
mean,
no,
it's
just not right.
It's.
I understand.
I mean, honestly, I'd be disagreeing with my own agreement. it's more of a timing thing.
You explained why you said no.
I know. But,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, please. Change.
Put it as a no /
You did a great job. You did a great job. We're just approving it.
Thank you. Okay, so the last part of this, obviously, now that we have both agreements in place, is the transition time between Andy and Don. And so what I'm suggesting is that we once Andy's contract expires, we extend him on a 1099 basis through the end of February. Again, totally up to the city manager who he'd report to, and also he would not have the title of city manager. It would be something like a consultant to the city manager, or whatever. I've spoken with Don. Don feels like a good solid month is needed for turnover. Outside of that, if there's obviously some value, Andy can continue to, and maybe he needs more time. Again, who knows what's going to be going on at that time. Andy can, I want to give Andy until the end of February if possible. As you can see, based on the numbers, that's well within our budget. It's even still below the budget. I don't think we're short of work here. Andy's done a great job for us. I know we originally was going to, before this kind of came up, we we're going to extend his contract for 6 months. That's all changed. And so this is only adding 3 months to it, which is kind of the commitment that I made. I really would want to try to do that if possible. Again, I don't want to spend taxpayer dollars if we don't need to. So I will leave that open to the city manager. If the city manager at the time feels like he doesn't want to renew that all the way to February, I give him the autonomy to do that. But I think from a council perspective, I'd like to see us go ahead and at least plan on 2 months at 1099. What he would get at this point, we would not be paying any FICA Medicare on him. It's strictly a 1099 relationship. We pay him a lump sum salary per month. It's based on the salary he was hired in at, plus the 8.3% we were doing in the match. So you see in this thing, it equates to $14,259.50. That's what the city outlay is, which is the exact same thing as what he would get, because there's no hidden costs in that we're paying other entities. It's just he's a consultant, and we're giving him, $14,200 for 2 months.
Is Andy good with this?
A lot of times you don't get a turnover. I think a turnover is optimal, but I'll know when it's time to leave the party. After 2 weeks, he'll probably go, got it, and I can step aside. If there's a special project, let's say annexation, where you guys want me to, what's that?
You're good to stay through February?
Of course, I've got to start looking for my next
Well, of
thing. So
course.
if something happens, but I appreciate the thought, but I doubt I'd be here till the end of February. Like I said, it'd be good for the staff to know the new boss is the boss, and I'd step out of the way. But again, if there's a special project or several that it would help Don out for me to wrap up things I've been working on, so he gets a running start. I just spent a few minutes with him and was here during his interview, and he seems like an easy to get along with guy. And I'm sure if I can be of value, once he lets me know, or we both realize enough's enough, like I can get out of his way. I have no problem doing that. So thanks for the
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We should have a party.
Oh, absolutely. That's
Maybe some pizza,
Dancing
some
girls and everything?
Yeah.
So I will say too that obviously during that turnover, Don's going to be his first few couple weeks here. He's going to be meeting with staff, learning about his department heads and all that. There's a lot of stuff still needs to go on from administrative that Andy could kind of do as he's kind of frees Don up to kind of get plugged in, and then they can kind of get together and have some good turnover. And again, I think that 2 months time, I think it would be of good value if it works out for Don.
So in that time frame, if Andy needs off to go because he's looking for something different, he can go, right?
So it's a great question, because in that
Time off.
there's no time off in that.
You should put
There is no time.
It's a flat payment for services. So there's
Well, we are going to allow him to be off.
I mean, I would leave that up to the, because and this is gonna be an example. Let's say that he's there and he's having to take off a couple weeks within there. Well, I think
I'm not saying
for
a couple
for Don,
weeks, I'm talking about a day.
Don probably wouldn't approve that because he's being paid.
I'm talking about a day.
Well, yeah, I think there's flexibility. Yeah, the city manager has discretion to do this. It's his consultant at that point. If he,
Okay, thank you.
Can I make a motion?
yes,
I make a motion we extend Andy 1099 status until February 20. What is it?
it'd be in February.
End of February. Yeah.
Whatever.
That's my motion.
Second.
Okay. And so we don't have any language on that. Whatever.
We'll bring it back.
So the motion would be to draw that up and that'll come back.
Have the
Have it ready
draw it up
on the
and
9th.
Be ready to go.
Yeah.
To get an extension for 1099.
That's
for
correct.
Andy to the end of February.
Got it.
Okay. And I get second was Lisa. Okay. Any further discussion? Public comment? Seeing none, put it to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Motion to.
Oh, hold on. Okay. Now is comments from the mayor and city council. Let's start. I'll start with Miss Councilwoman Burke.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilwoman Burke, let's go first. So do you have any comments?
Yeah, that was it.
That's okay. You'd like to adjourn? Okay. Noted. Vice Mayor, Mayor.
No, I'm excited. We're bringing in a new city manager, and we've taken our time. We found the right guy, and you've worked hard to get us a contract that is good for him and for us. So thank you for that, and I look forward to greater, greener days ahead for us.
Yeah, you may comment it should be a contract I could take to the voters in April. Is would you agree to this? I'm just kidding.
Old business. You skipped old business. It's
Old
not on
business.
there.
It's not on there.
Not on there.
What? On the cover page?
Yeah, put it on there, Phil May do it.
Plus, I put it on there and it didn't.
If I could put a pause,
So sorry.
if I could have paused very quickly.
Fair, I swear.
Is there any old business?
No.
Well, I had a question as far as the speed humps.
Just check on that. I let him go. He ran out of here.
Yeah, but you told me they were about ready to do it last time we talked.
So I got to follow up with him, but I know he's been talking with Ajax to get that done. So I'm sure. Let me get a definitive timeline for you, and I'll have Ashley email council on that particular.
Had a
thing
gentleman
before
got hit
2
on
weeks
his
from
bike
now.
last week. He wound up in the hospital for about a week. I think. Do you know anything? Remember anything about that? Right there in front of my house, got knocked over in the neighbors across the street yard, and hurt him pretty bad. Someone came down out into Ritchie. So it gets concerning. That's why it reminded me.
Yeah, they're just moving forward, right? I mean, we
Yeah, the latest email was from Isabel at Ajax. I'm still working on finding a contractor who is able to match the existing speed tables in the area because I think Councilman Hubbard wanted it to be the exact same kind.
Well,
There's
similar to
two
Newport
kinds,
Ritchie.
and those ones are real bumpy. Those new ones at the end, closer to Sims Park, they're rough.
Yeah, well, that
They're
doesn't
rough.
have to be exact, but similar.
Yeah, but the ones close to Sims Park, they're rough. The
They
ones
are.
other way are okay.
Yeah, my golf cart rattles down there sometimes.
So that was 3 weeks ago. So
Okay,
we'll,
so we're
they
getting
owe us an
close.
update. Yeah, we'll get back.
probably. Okay. Any other old business?
Okay.
Daryl was going to talk about the water lines tonight. I guess it didn't come up, but he was working on getting that.
The RFP for that will be going out on the 30th.
Very good. I know that clock started October 1st, so that's crucial.
Okay. Any old business? Old business? Okay. I'm going to go back to comments, Vice Mayor, Mayor.
I have no additional comments at this time, sir.
Okay. Councilman Hubbard?
There was a workshop scheduled. Is that going to be rescheduled?
I am waiting on dates.
Yeah, we were.
That was regarding what? Because it was confusing how many things were going on.
Several.
That was regarding code changes, the special magistrate. There were several different things going on.
That's what I'm saying. There were so many
But
things.
I was scheduled to be out of town this week, and then that got postponed. So it's kind of up in the air. So I'm not ready to reschedule for the next 2 weeks at least,
Yeah.
because my schedule is up in the air at the moment. So
Everybody has through
late
next
December, January. I would say January.
We thought January. Ashley, January. Let's look for a date for that workshop that we canceled this week or
Whenever
postponed.
council agrees.
Shouldn't be a a lengthy meeting or anything. It's all been reviewed by council and
Depends on city attorney
city attorney,
availability and
so.
council availability.
Okay.
I will be here on the 13th. There's currently a P&Z meeting and then the council meeting. So we can do it in between P&Z and council.
Yeah, something
That makes for a long day.
What day is this?
January 13th.
January 13th.
I think we were going to do it at 3 o'clock last time. So we can do it in between the two. If that works for everybody.
3 o'clock workshop.
When do I get back?
I'll have to check.
We could follow up at the next meeting with some recommendations.
This also will be a discussion of the direct contractor payments from the CRA grant funding.
That'll need to be a CRA workshop, so that needs to be.
I thought it was your idea that we put them all together.
I realized it's CRA, so it can be the same day. It just needs to be noticed that it's one like do CRA, then when you're done, you can start the next
Because
one.
we're already doing that grant funding, so.
It just needs you to, just that everyone knows what it's about. And I actually bill under separate things. If it's CRA, I have to bill it separately. So for your audits.
Let me see. I don't know that. Yeah, I return on the 11th, so 13th works for me. Okay.
Would it be for the one workshop or two? You can do both. Just notice that the first half hour is CRA, whatever, where you want to do it 3 o'clock is the CRA and then 3:30 or immediately following is the something like that.
It really shouldn't
Workshops,
be
planning and zoning council.
like a real long.
Right. But the two workshops kind of a misnomer. It's really
It's a
just
lot
one,
of
but we're just
small
noticing a difference.
things that
Mostly
kind of
my
are things that the
my
staff
time for your
wants.
audit. I have to do it. If it works for everybody.
Anything else from you, Bob? Councilman Sullivan? Okay. Unfortunately, I have one thing, and we can look. That's about there. So actually, last meeting it was brought.
Mr. Mayor, did we confirm if we're doing that? So I know.
Yes. Oh, so I'm sorry. Everybody good with 13th, right?
I don't know.
I'm good with 13th. 3 o'clock.
Yeah, check.
I have to check.
You okay with it?
Most likely.
Okay.
But I don't have that calendar here.
So everybody's okay except Lisa.
I just needed to make sure.
Corn.
That's fine.
Like I said, we always cancel if I can or whatever. Okay.
Yep.
Good on that. Okay. So last meeting, there's some during the comments. There's stuff that came up about the whole the competing effort down to waterfront, whatever. And Christine, you'd said reach out to Pasco, whatever. So I've done some due diligence. So I reached out to Adam with Pasco Sports Coast to kind of get what his take was on what was going on. And when I talked to him, he said that he was reached out to by Bob, and obviously Pasco Sports Coast. They talk to developers all the time, and Adam said basically that he made some introductions. There's a lady who does not want to be mentioned that was involved in that introduction, and so there was some stuff going on, and there was another individual, Paul LaFrance, that was kind of brought in, and there was several meetings held. I did ask Adam if during some of the meetings he was in, if Pasco EDC was involved at all, and they were not, and I almost was the point I wasn't going to reach out to EDC because it didn't sound like they were involved at all. But I went ahead and reached out to Bill Cronin today just to clarify that, and he did clarify that they've not been involved in any of that at all. I asked Adam, are you all driving this project because council wasn't aware of it? And they said, no, we're not driving that at all. Bob reached out to them. He made some contacts, and then there was some obviously some stuff I think that Bob met with Andy and Pasco Sports Coast, and obviously there was some I think meetings with some of the property owners down at the waterfront and whatever. So that's kind of how, in a nutshell, how all that kind of got started. And so the unfortunate part of that is that we have two proposals that have come in that the expectation is that we would pay those. The lady doesn't want to be mentioned. She has agreed to withdraw her proposal, which was, I believe, $8,500. for the contacts and stuff, the work that she had done. But the ask was for Paul LaFrance guy that does the design. Is my understanding that he's about 80-90% done with this animation of the waterfront and all that. And his proposal was, I believe, $9,850, correct? I've not talked to Paul, but I've talked to the individual that doesn't want to be named. And this Paul is really a good friend of hers, and he was doing this, what he thought was agreed to within the spending authority of the city manager. And I think there was probably some miscommunication, and I'm going to let Andy quickly respond to his version of that, and then let council decide how we want to go forward on this. But the reality of the situation, because this work that's been done outside of direction of council, we have a $9,850 item that somebody's been working on for the city under their assumption that they would be paid for it. And I explained the process is that proposals are submitted, they're brought to council, council reviews those based on our spending authority. If it's up to $25,000, we can agree to do something like that. If it's above $25,000, we got to take it to bid. The city manager has a $10,000 spending authority. That is to keep the city running, so that if something happens and he needs to make a purchase to keep the city going or something else like that, he doesn't have to wait 2 weeks to come to council and get approval. He has the ability to do that. That's not for strategic planning, design planning, anything like that. I don't know how you all feel, but if I had the city manager going out writing $10,000 checks for just stuff that he's not bringing to council, I'd be the first to, if I could make a motion we fire the guy. So I don't feel that there's been ever any, from what I've gathered, that there's been any misinformation. I think process was explained and people misunderstood that. But nonetheless, here we are. And so there's a product out there that's about finished that the assumption is that we would pay that. So I wanted to make council aware of that. And I don't know, Andy, if you want to give a little bit of color to your involvement in it, just so council is aware.
It's kind of bizarre because when at Councilman Hubbard's request, I met with this person, and then she says she has this designer contact, and she wants to envision building hotels down at the waterfront. At most, I agreed, like, yeah, if the city doesn't have a hotel, it'd be great to have a hotel. So she proceeded to start making plans, as I understand it, or having her designer make plans about what to build down on the waterfront on private property that the city doesn't own. So, I mean, why would I say I'm going to pay you to make plans to build something that we don't do? We don't build hotels. We're municipal government, and especially to build them on land that we don't own and have no intention of buying. So I don't want to use too strong language, but it seems preposterous to me that anybody misunderstood. And as far as knowing my spending limit, I think the first time I talked to her, I asked what her role was. Like, in other words, what's your interest in this? How do you get paid? She said, oh, I'm a realtor, so I'll get paid when property sells or whatever. She has her own agreements with hoteliers. I'm like, great, I didn't worry about that. And then I was going out on medical leave and got a phone call saying I think I put in a lot of time and I need to get paid. And that was, so I go on medical leave, and a couple weeks later I come back and I see these proposals in my email that I knew nothing about. And so it's just kind of crazy to me that I'm being accused of leading people to think that we owe them money because they're going to provide a product. I was just being accommodating. I say it all the time, let the free market work, let the market prevail. And people are going to want to, I mean, they didn't have to take their ball and go home. They could buy properties, put in proposals to develop and develop here. I don't know why all of a sudden it's off. So I wasn't actively participating in private industry, and I'm prevented to, I think, in my contract. I'm supposed to have one job. So anyway, I don't know if that helps clarify or muddies the water. So yes, sir.
Chris?
When, as a previous realtor and with lots of real estate experience, you cannot jump in and start working for somebody and just throw out a bill there and say, hey, you owe me X amount of dollars, 10 grand, whatever it is, out of thin air without a contract. That is absolutely, it's ethics
Bizarre.
101. You don't do that. So if she is a realtor, and we don't have to bring up the name, I don't even know the name, don't really care. If she is a realtor, she knows better. You know, and for her to start to pressure our city manager or pressure you or anybody for $10,000 at the end of a thing, maybe that's why she withdrew her requirement, because she knew that if the Board of Professional Occupational Regulation got a hold of this, they'd have a problem with her license. They'd be reviewing her license in front of a board of their own, you know, wondering if she's doing the right thing. So anyway, I'm a little blown away by it myself.
Yeah, the whole situation is a little bizarre. You know, at the end of the day, there is no signed contract. You know, there's just a couple of proposals submitted, but again, from her perspective, again, I haven't spoken with this Paul guy, but I think probably from his perspective as well, is they are under the assumption that they were okay to proceed for whatever reason. Again, so I want to make you guys aware of what I found out and kind of where it is. Nancy, did you have anything you want to say on that?
Unless someone has a question of me.
So, you know, I don't. Any other comments of how we deal with this?
I can fill in some gaps.
What's that?
I'd be happy to fill in some gaps.
Okay.
Since I was involved with a lot of this, like you said, I worked with the county for a couple of decades, and the county has worked with a lot of developers, a lot of real estate agents. They came to me saying that there's interest in the West Coast, not if Paul France could be Guy Harvey Park. They've been working with the county. They were working on Anclote Park. They actually contracted me, wanted me to build a boat for that park because I'm the only one contracted by the state of Florida licensed to take people out to the state park, Anclote. I facilitated it with a friend of mine, Ed, who Andy met, as well as he met with Adam and Consuelo at the ice cream store. He was very excited about meeting with a couple people, representatives. As far as the contract, as far as the drawing goes, I don't know what the conversation exactly Andy had, but I know he was excited. He wanted to move forward with this. We had business owners and property owners that had met and talked to him. They were very excited. And the reason Apollo France came up because a lot of highly experienced hotel executives had very good success with them and developers. And the county's had a lot of good success with these people with development out Moffett, with the hotels, public centers, a couple of hotels up on 52, and they've had a lot of good success with these people. They have decades of marketing experience, global marketing experience with Paradise. Paradise Marketing works with Pasco County. They were excited because of the fact that they've been trying to help Fort Ritchie develop commerce and bring in some tourism of some kind. We're a perfect location because they don't bring any traffic to our citizens. Our waterfront's right on 19. They wanted to do something here for a long time, and they came to me saying that they have these opportunities, whether it's Paul France, Guy Harvey. Right now they're working with Margaritaville, and so is Frank Grimaldi. So there's a lot of opportunities. What's important that I think the council should hear what they can do and have a presentation on how important it is to improve this commerce down here on waterfront and how they can help do that. A hotel, the bed tax will help bring the revenue also to market it. The county pays for all that. All we do is enjoy watching our business people succeed from that. You're going to develop a brand. And that's what we were trying to do. And Andy was very excited. He had mentioned how Palmetto has great success down there with the hotel and the Marriott Convention Center. And these type of things have helped these communities. And he was very excited. He was saying he wanted to move forward because we got a lot of excitement from property owners. That's what I was under just now. I don't know what the confusing thing was with you and her. I don't know. I just know that you were working with her. And she was telling me that she was very excited because of the property owners. we're very excited about this coming down there because it's going to help our business. And we owe our business owners down there the due diligence to hear how Pasco can help us in the state of Florida with all these decades of experience with these developers and marketing people, and how we can benefit from that. It's something that we should do, and I think we should bring them in so at least they can tell us how they can help us, whether it's with Paul of France or whoever. They deal with a lot of people. But the Paul of France structure was very, very unique. They've had a lot of success with that in other areas, and the business owners down here really like that idea. It would be unique, and it's something, if you're going down 19, it's going to look warm, welcoming, and a lot of fun, and people want to be a part of it, and commerce is going to want to be a part of that. And that's something that would help grow our commerce exponentially, and it would cause a brand that Paradise really was excited about promoting for the county. Adam and I, it's been about a year, Adam.
Yes.
So we went out to Pasco to Roundtable, and we met with a little bit of Paradise marketing out there to talk about co-op average. We introduced ourselves out there to a lot of business owners in Pasco County, and everybody introduced themselves. When we introduced ourselves, they all want, hey, how's it going? You got anything going on there? We need to meet with you before you leave. Everybody in this county is excited about what might be happening out here, waiting for something to happen out here because they know how unique it is. So, like I said, they can come in and explain how we can benefit from it, and I think we need to hear what they have to say. At least for our business owners, we own that, to see how we can work with these people. Doesn't cost us anything. As far as the design goes, my understanding was that he can make money. There's people in the own property down there that are interested in him designing a hotel for them. They already own property here and they own a business here. Other people were also interested in doing that too. So he could make money off of those people if they hire him to help design a hotel that wants to work with them. He wanted what they wanted to do and what the county had recommended, and everybody recommended. It would work better if the concept was in the whole district and just like one piece of property. And that's where we were excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, part of my charter, sir, is I've been told since I got here is that the crown jewels, develop the waterfront.
Exactly.
And if a councilman or the mayor says, hey, you need to meet with this person, of course, I'm pro-development, pro-business, pro-increasing the tax base. So
And
it was all with good intentions, and I wasn't trying to disparage the person who doesn't want to be named. It's just, it's a huge misunderstanding that I don't understand, but I take it that it was.
Well, and I don't know all the details. I know like I said, I worked with Andy on this whole thing, and I have a friend of mine, Ed, that was with us. He helped me with a lot because he knows a lot of people.
Ed, is he part of the?
Ed Kong used to be a head of EDC, and he also was head.
Oh, that's where the EDC came in. He was. Gotcha.
Yeah, but it wasn't EDC. He was right. A member of it, and he also was the director of Pasco Tourism, and he was like my partner. I facilitated a lot of his clients coming from all around the world to visit. And I showed them the coastline and a lot of different things of that nature. And I've helped a lot of other businesses here. So that's why a lot of people on the waterfront know me. So they were willing to meet with these people. They got very excited. So Andy was excited when he heard about the concept. And he had met with Consuela, Adam Thomas, with my friend Ed, and talked about we need to maybe set up something up in December to get together, because I've been wanting my council people to hear the details of how they can help. It's very important.
I think that's the only missing piece here. We don't know anything about it.
I want you to. Trust me, I've brought this up a few times.
It's like the cart and the horse here. We got the cart rolling down the road. The horse is sitting
I can
here.
make it easy, and she wants to have that workshop. They can come in for like half hour, 45 minutes, do a foundation explanation to you. You can ask some basic questions, and it'll will give you something to think about.
So we can definitely invite Pasco Sports Coast in here for an agenda item to present how they can help the city. And again, I think the disconnect is when we talk about these other property owners or whatnot, we don't play in their arena. And we have a little third of an acre property down there.
I explained that right from the get-go, and Andy knows I did. We don't own property down here. you need to talk to the business, and we facilitated that. Andy set up Zooms, but they were all excited. They all been wanting this for decades down there, and it has been like stalemated. I'm tired of stalemating it. I don't care. Maybe we don't want to do it, but the business owners want to do it. They have a lot of experience. These guys are professionals.
Well, what's preventing the business owners from doing that?
Nothing. But like I said, yeah, Frank wanted to do this. He's one of them. And so was Mark. So was, Whiskey Joe's is waiting to see. They're like, yeah, whatever. The city's like, they'll never pull their head out of their ass, quote. That's how they feel about it. Mike and Tim Lowe are excited about doing something. Instead of putting a high drive marina, they're talking about maybe putting a resort over there possibly. But the whole concept would make it work better. And what Paul did, he put together, and I didn't tell him to do this, but he was very excited about looking at the waterfront. He did Zoom meetings with people, and everything really clicked. I think it might be fair if you guys want to talk to him in a Zoom. Maybe he can explain things. Maybe there could be an explanation to that.
Have you seen this product?
No, I haven't. And be fair, this man does this stuff, and typical little drawing of a district probably like worth $150,000. As we're putting trees on the median, we're paying $40-some thousand just to get designed trees in the median. This guy's designing the whole waterfront with a concept, so that's worth about $150,000. He wants to present it to you, but he can come in and say, "This is what I want to do. This is the whole layout. Give us the whole layout." And we say, "Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. Look at this.
Well, he wants paid for
He wants to get covered a little bit for what he did, is what my assumption. But I didn't tell him to do it. Andy was excited, but I don't know what the conversation with him was. If he said he didn't tell her to do it, fine, I believe him. Like he said, you should have a contract before you do that. All I know is I facilitated it. You went in the hospital, I went on vacation, and now here we are. And everybody was excited. And I want, from the get-go, I've been wanting to bring them in so our council people can know what's going on, because it's important. And I don't want to let this go anymore. Pasco County is willing to work with us because everybody in county wants us to do something. Everybody that I've talked to.
Well, what specifically do they want us to do? Because
they want us to stimulate growth. And if we create, like I said, it's not, if we let it happen.
We did stimulate growth when we adopted a new land development code for the Cody River Landing area, allowing up to 40 units of density if you come to us with a 5-acre PUD.
Right.
So, and it's exactly what, property has changed hands, and that plans are coming forth. So we've done, and that's kind of what we do. And that was actually brought to us from that. Actually, Eric with Gill Dogs, he's the one that signed it, but obviously in conjunction with Ryan and them, they brought that ask for the city to do something to help projects like that happen. So we created that construct.
So what is the difference between that development and Ryan Burke coming to the city and wanting to discuss developing Gill Dogs when he didn't own Gill Dogs, and those conversations happening at that time versus having the conversations with hotel developers?
Be happy to answer that. So the difference is that they had an active contract on that property, and they had a due diligence period. And during that due diligence period, they actually were engaging with the city, paying our expenses for the planner to do all this work. They actually paid the fees if they were for those applications.
So we didn't discuss anything with Ryan Burke until there was a contract?
We say discuss anything with Ryan
Discuss
Burke.
anything regarding the development of the Gill Dog property prior to a contract being signed on that property?
So Ryan, again, you guys weren't here, obviously. I think Ryan and his team, they met with each one of the councilmen to let them know that what they were wanting to do.
I think that's what we're being asked right now.
Right.
Is can we have a meeting?
Well, Paul LaFrance, right?
They want to do just to get a concept.
Well, Paul LaFrance doesn't own any property, and he's not buying any property.
Neither did Ryan. Ryan went to the newspaper.
Looking at multiple properties. I mean, she did call me. This woman
Is
did
this
call
called
me.
another meeting?
And,
Well, it
and
probably-
say that there were 3 properties
I mean,
that they were looking at. 3, not just one.
But
So
we're
if you
talking
were
about things that
one,
aren't even on the
I
agenda.
was told that there were 3. So if we could have conversations with Burke prior prior to a signed contract on a property, I don't see why we couldn't have a conversation about this prior to a signed contract. Because as of right now, we don't know what the 3 properties are.
Yeah, you could have
There was a
conversations.
Conversation when they brought $20,000 of bills forward. That wasn't a conversation.
So I think
That was a shake stand.
I'm just saying, so we can all get on the same page. Right now,
Yeah.
nobody knows anything
Well, let's solve
because every
that.
story is different.
there's 2 different things. I think there's 2 different, like related, but 2 different things. And they're right, none of this on the agenda. But there's someone asking for payment. We need direction on what you might think right now.
I agree, but
That
it's
your
not- we're not
direction,
talking about that
right.
anymore.
Your direction might be, we want to talk longer and
Yes.
more in depth about that. Okay, the other thing is what you're asking for. You've asked for it before. Bring these, whomever these folks are, bring them in, let them present whatever they want to present. So everyone's on the same page, everyone knows what's going on, and collectively you can decide, is it something the city's interested in? Is it something the city should be doing or not? So it's 2 different things, and I think you want answers, and I get it, but this is comment time. So I think the idea right now is if you're not ready to say, hey, pay that bill, don't pay that bill, well, not even a bill, pay that amount, don't pay that amount, and you want to talk more about it, I think we asked to move this to December 9th or some other day to have that conversation and set up a workshop or whatever you need to have the conversation, the bigger conversation.
I'll clarify that. I vote we don't pay the bill right now. I vote you bring those people in so we can all get on the same page. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's important, and like you look at a lot of successful cities, a lot of them will have a concept of this in a park or a certain district that people appreciate. And we can set up to where if you want to build commerce down there, it has to fit in with this neighborhood. We can't make people do what they want to property.
I get it.
That
We're
can
just
be
not
horizontal.
commercial realtors, that's all. You know what I mean?
No, we're not. But there's a lot of people that are, and they know a lot of people, and they know a lot of developers and hotel executives with decades of success in developing communities.
So if we can get them on the agenda, get them to come in and talk to us.
But
let's
I
do
thought
that.
we
Let's
don't.
not- let's
I
not-
thought we don't pay anything. We didn't set up anything.
No,
There's
we
nothing
didn't.
set up to pay.
I think it would
agree.
be fair to set up a Zoom with Paul at that time too, if you guys want to just hear what he has to say, just in fairness.
I don't mind hearing, but I don't mind. I don't like somebody billing us for something that.
Well,
wasn't
ask him
even
about it.
contracted.
I mean, I don't even know that. I don't. If there's a decision that we need to make as a group or a team, I would love to be able to talk to them. Put them on the Zoom, whatever we need to do. Let's talk to them. Let's find out what they have. And I don't want to shoot down anything you're bringing because I like all the excitement of this stuff. I just want to make sure we do it in the right order where we're understanding what's going
Right.
on.
So, like I said, it's not something that would cost us money. Like it's up to the developer. I mean, the business owners and developers who want to come into this community. If they see this is what we want to do as a city, that you're going to go into this, in fairness to all the other business people that are in this district, you need to have something that coincides with that district.
So Bob, let's table it since it's late tonight.
All right, that's all.
And so, by consensus, an objection to putting Pasco Pasco Sports Coast on the agenda to come in and tell us how they can help us. One. Any objections?
Nope.
Okay, so and if we can make sure to get that on agenda. Any objections to what was the second part that you suggested to have a discussion on this actual proposal?
You need someone's asking us to pay, someone's going to have to respond.
Yeah, let's
Table the payment.
yeah,
Until
obviously we're not going to do any payment because there's no path to that. But if we could, by consensus, agree to have Paula France or whoever talk about their proposal, explain what they were wanting to do for us or whatever, so then we can have that conversation at a later date. Is there consensus for that?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Can we have it, if we can do it maybe the same day as the workshop, so we can all be here, don't have to set a separate.
If I may, I think the problem with your workshop is there's already a
We can't
PM
act anything.
right? And you're going to start at 3 for a CRA topic, which may not take that long, but you don't know that. And then I think there's 3 or 4 topics for the next workshop. Again, you can't judge how long that's going to be, but then you have to go into a council meeting at 6. So I think it's a very full.
All right. Well,
very full day. So I think it's
the
on
important
day.
thing is maybe Andy, if it's after the first of the year, if you get a date, as soon as you get a date, let me know so I can get a hold of these people because they're busy and give them plenty of advance notice on what time and day to be here. I think it'd be easier to.
Yeah, I would say
with the best notice.
setting it up. I see he's got the contacts. Let's facilitate setting that up, and we'll get them on an agenda.
Awesome.
Okay, that's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I got a motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.